Three. Good night. Jalen forces it up over down. Somebody tied it.
Oh. WPCFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Celtics made one shot from the field over the final 8 minutes and 40 seconds last night. They blew another 20-point lead and lost again to the Knicks, 91-90 at TD Garden in Game 2 of that second-round playoff series. Jalen Brunson made a pair of free throws with 12.1 seconds left to put the visitors ahead, and then Jason Tatum couldn't get a shot off as time expired. Josh Hart scored 23 points for the winners. The Celtics are now down 2 games to none in the best of 7. Game 3 is Saturday afternoon at Madison Square Garden. Oklahoma City, meanwhile, ran over Denver in the late game, 149-106. That best of 7 is even in a game apiece. In other NBA news, Steph Curry could miss at least a week for Golden State with a grade 1 strain of his hamstring. The Red Sox avoided a 4th straight loss with a 6-4 win over Texas at Fenway Park. Wilyer Abreu, 2 home runs. Alex Bregman, a 2-run shot. Both men drove in 3 runs in the win. The 2 teams will wrap up their 3-game series this afternoon. In NHL news, the Utah Hockey Club announced yesterday that beginning next season, the franchise's new name will be the Utah Mammoth. And the New England Revolution won at Rhode Island FC last night 2-1 to reach the round of 16 at the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Cristiano Oliveira scored the game-winning goal in the 88th minute. They'll play Chicago Fire FC next. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Catches Law. At Catches, they specialize in helping those who have been injured not only from a one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does this sound like you? Visit CatchesLaw.com. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
To us, Boston pride runs deep.
I'm a Bostonian.
This is Boston's Home for Sports.
Bow, bow, bow.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher
When has that been necessary to fact check?
and Hardy
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
on 98.5.
Hey there.
Sarge GPT loading up.
Let me hear you say, "Bo, bo, bo."
Crush me, mommy.
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm a goddamn drag.
Yeah, good luck, dude.
That's like a good tushy.
Excuse me?
Toucher and Hardy
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fun. Having some fun.
on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
The lady chased me.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy, Town Fair Tire Studios, 617-779-0985. You can watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. And watch the show live. You can watch the Joe Show live. You can get all the shows and all the stuff. All right. Obviously, last night, the Celtics lost. They blew another 20-point lead. And that is going on. John seems very upset. You do?
I am.
He was very upset when I first came in this morning.
Yeah. He loves the Celtics.
He raised his voice.
At you or
No, at the situation. If it were directed toward anyone, it would have been a family member of his. Actually, 2 family members of his.
you had family members rooting for the Knicks?
My father is a Knicks fan. My father, who I didn't speak to in a week, texted me immediately after game 1. How about those Knicks? ? And then immediately after game 2, his fingers can't move fast enough. He's texting me. And then the worst part about all of it is my father, who roots for a team that hasn't won a championship since 1973, texted me and said, the Celtics should be ashamed of themselves. He's taking pity on me as a Celtics fan, despite rooting for a team that hasn't won a championship in 50 years.
Yeah, and a team that blows it home.
Yeah, a team that blew back-to-back 20-point leads, and the most frustrating thing about it is, Fred, they're beating themselves. That's the worst part. The Celtics are so clearly better, top to bottom, than this team, and they can't get out of their own way. How many open threes did they miss last night? How many layups did Jason Tatum miss last night? How many timeouts did Joe Mazzulla not take last night, including having the ball with 12 seconds left and letting them go live ball situation? If you watch Jalen Brunson in a clutch situation, how many times do you see him lose the basketball or get his shot blocked? And then you watch Jason Tatum have both of those things happen. It was so frustrating to watch. Those open shots were there. They just missed all of them. If you were an alien that had been dropped out of the sky and had no knowledge of basketball, and someone sat next to you and said, one of these two teams is a defending NBA champion, which team would you have picked?
Well, it depends what quarter. First quarter, I would have said neither.
Depends what planet.
And then second and third, I would have said Celtics. And fourth, I would have said Knicks.
Yeah.
The first quarter was a bit of a mess.
The Knicks, the moment looks too big for them. At the moment, if you had
well, there's no doubt about that. They missed 13 shots in a row.
Yeah.
They allowed a 21-2 run. Yeah, they got tight. The moment looked too big for them. It did.
Considering this team won the NBA championship last year, that's stunning to say. And I don't know why Joe Mazzulla didn't take a timeout during that 21-2 run. I don't know why he didn't take a timeout to set something up at the end of the game. Did he really think that Jason Tatum was going to dribble through everybody and get it dunked that second time?
I have a question, and I haven't heard this, and it might be ludicrous, but do you think they let Tatum score? Because that would have made sense. Not the last possession, the second to last possession.
Yeah, I think there was an element of, once he got downhill and he was making toward the basket, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, because once
he got free.
I was watching it. Well, my son wasn't watching, but he was in the room, and I said, I wonder if you foul here, because there's 24.5 seconds left. I wonder if you foul. You're up 1, you foul. Worst case scenario, you're down 1 with basically a full shot clock.
But you control the game with the chance to win.
But you control the game with a chance to win, which I would prefer instead of hoping for a stop.
It was not only that; it was the little things. Like, for instance,
hold on 1 second though. Just to that point, now whether this was spoken or whether it's just how they felt, with the exception of the last possession that the Celtics had. I wouldn't be surprised if the whole mentality of the Knicks were, let them do whatever they're going to try and do on offense, whether it's shoot a three or Tatum going coast to coast and getting a dunk. We will do what we do. Those guys are doing it to themselves on offense.
The execution.
So allowing Tatum to run the floor or even having the last shot, that's fine. Have you seen these guys haven't made a shot in 8.5 minutes? Other than
we
that
can
dunk.
leave them alone out there. They're gonna miss everything.
Doesn't matter.
It was even during the middle of the fourth quarter, Fred. Mitchell Robinson's out there. The Celtics have 2 team fouls, and this is with 6-7 minutes to go, and the Celtics immediately foul him twice, and then Thibodeau takes him out of the game because no problem. We're in the bonus now.
Yeah, Thibodeau was maneuvering a lot with he putting Robinson in on defense and then taking Towns out and then the reverse. Yeah,
you would think the Celtics, top to bottom, had no experience in this type of situation. Watching them in the last 2 games.
Well, they got very tight. They've been very tight in the end of game situations especially last night. I mean, that's all you have to do is make a couple buckets.
Yeah.
All you have to do is score a couple points. It's literally a couple points. Like if you can, all right, so they go on a 6-0, 8-0 run. All right, well, get a couple buckets, even everything out, kill a little time. That's all you got to do. I mean, you just have to maintain.
You have Derek White and Al Horford standing alone out there with threes that they usually make, and they missed everything. Tatum missed 3 or 4 that I can think of, layups off the top of my head. Jaylen Brown missed another one. But it doesn't matter if the threes are contested or not at this point. And they missed 30 more threes last night.
Well, Tatum had the yips last night. I mean, even in the beginning of the first quarter after the bad first half, he misses a layup first possession. I mean, that stuck with me. I usually don't remember things like that. But that was like, oh, whoa. All right, well, something's going on with him mentally.
The execution when the game is on the line The comparison between the two teams is shocking to me. That the Celtics would let it get to this. That this is happening to them. And Kristaps Porzingis is what? Half of himself? 60% of himself?
Well,
if
we're
that?
60% water weight. And if he's got the Rhea, you know. He didn't have to come off the bench. I mean, he didn't have to, like, go into the back, though. He stayed on the bench.
He did. You're right. Didn't start the game.
No, but he didn't have to leave the court.
Well, maybe that's the reason they didn't start him, just in case he did have to go.
But splattered everywhere.
Yeah. 14 minutes last night for Porzingis.
No, Porzingis doesn't. Well, he made a 3.
He did.
You got to give him that.
He made one contested 3 at the end of the shot clock.
Yes.
And he also got a rebound right underneath the basket and kicked it out for a 3 because, I mean, when you're over 7 feet tall.
7-3, yes.
That can't – you're not guaranteed to be able to get a putback two-pointer. You should kick that one out.
That unfortunately, and Hardy and I talked about this before the game. Hardy's right. I mean, it frustrates me too, but – Max has been on this for 3 or 4 years. The Celtics do that routinely. It's not just Porzingis. They're trained to do that.
And what's funny is that in that situation, again, it sounds obvious, but, I mean, you make a couple baskets, you're right, you're winning that game.
Winning both games?
Yeah, you're especially last night. Like, because you were in a position where you just had to stem the tide. Not even, just stop a 21-2 run. I mean, all you got to do is just, all right, everyone slow down, make a layup.
Maybe call a timeout. Get everyone together.
Yeah, call a timeout, make a layup. Then
Guys,
you can let them
guys.
score, and then you come back, you make another layup, and then that's pretty much the game.
Give the Knicks credit. They just don't stop. They play the same way. They may be behind 20 points. They may be up 3, but they don't stop playing.
Well, maybe
they just keep making shots. How many big shots did Josh Hart hit when they were down 20? How many? And then you have Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, who didn't do anything all game and then got
but
red
he
hot.
got hot when it mattered. And then
Right.
you have the game's best closer. So I mean, the Knicks never panic. They just keep playing. They play the same way all the way through, and the Celtics are all over the place.
And maybe it's time just for an overall philosophical change, whether it's, the stubbornness to not move away from what you're doing is one thing. But as distasteful as this might be to Joe Mazzulla and his, positive mental attitude, maybe in one of those huddles you got to say, okay, we're not going to do this again. Remember that awful thing that we did? Oh, I know. I tell you guys, short memory. Do you remember that awful thing that we did on Monday night when we blew the 20-point lead and lost the game? We're not going to do that again.
Almost
so
the identical score.
everybody, just listen to me. We're not doing that again. I want you to remember that negative thing right now and don't do that. Well, but try that because they did the exact same thing again. Went out there, missed tons of open shots, missing layups, and allowed the other team to just have their way with you when they had the ball.
Almost the same identical score, too. 75-55 in Game 1, 73-53 in Game 2. They blew both leads. This is a team that won over 60 games this season and is the defending NBA champion. They're playing a team that they did not lose to during the regular season, and they can't get out of their own way. And this is round 2. This isn't even the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals. Now, they can still win this thing. They're a better road team this year than they were a home team.
And the Knicks are a better road team than they are a home team.
Yeah, I mean, they can still win 4 the next 5 and reach the next round, but it is shocking to me that they are struggling like this.
Well, you
and
know what you
the
got
way
Friday.
they're struggling.
Must win.
Saturday.
Saturday. Must win.
Must win. Must win.
Must win.
You're in a must-win situation.
Yep.
MWS.
Gotta win that one.
Got to win Game 3.
87% of teams who have gone down 2-0 in a best of 7
And that
lose.
doesn't even count because that counts the COVID year. So no, I'm serious because that counts the. Do you think the COVID year is a representative year for basketball?
No. I
No.
think it's a real NBA championship, but it's not a representative
I don't think
year
it's
for
a
basketball.
well. I mean, it counts as an NBA championship. but
Everybody
it's-
had to play under the same rules, so
Yeah, but those aren't the regular rules.
No, it's
That'd be
true.
like playing another game.
No,
That'd
no,
be
no.
like we can't. We're playing horse instead
home
of basketball.
road, it doesn't matter. I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
those particular numbers should be thrown out.
Yes,
that year,
and
yes.
so it's really 4. So you're asking Cleveland and the Celtics to both come back from 2-0. One of them's not. One of those teams is not going to do it.
Cleveland's got. I mean, there's an excuse built in for Cleveland.
But I listened to a little bit of Cleveland yesterday.
Oh,
There's it would drive me crazy if I was on that team. There's a lot of that they're not hurt, that those guys aren't hurt, and one thing that is interesting is they were dancing around like during the game, and they're supposed to have like bad ankles and stuff, and like if you're dancing around during the game.
yeah, Mobley's supposed to have a bad ankle.
And what also doesn't, but I guess they like that Mobley is hurt a little bit because they don't like the too big. There was some
they don't like Mobley and Allen playing together.
out of all the guys that are hurt, Mobley is the one that they're okay with being hurt. This is what they listen. This is I'm just reporting. What do I know about the two big things
Mobley,
in Cleveland?
for the non-basketball fans out there, is the NBA Defensive Player of the Year.
So
and they
they're-
don't want him on the floor.
They're okay with him not being on the floor.
God.
It's the other two, and what didn't help matters is that Donovan Mitchell's got a strained calf apparently, and he's been playing with it. I mean, he didn't get hurt in that game, but he's been playing hurt, and he was getting pummeled in that game.
Yeah.
And so it's a very convenient thing is that, like, well, look, Donovan Mitchell's hurt. He had a game where he went for 42, all free throws because he was attacking the basket and getting pummeled. And you got 3 guys on the bench that are dancing around that look like they could have played. It would piss me off if I was on Cleveland, but I mean, it is odd that they were like they were able to dance around on the bench and like stand up and like jump up and down, but they couldn't take a shot in like playing a playoff game when you're down 0-1.
No.
Like that is like the more I heard of it, the more I was like, yeah.
Garland.
It would kind of piss me off.
Garland apparently has a bad big toe.
Yeah, Garland
And
has
Mobley-
a broken big toe. So like
Mobley has an ankle.
Yeah, so they don't. Garland apparently has a broken big toe, so they don't think he's going to play, but the other two should play.
Yeah.
I guess is what they're saying. But it was interesting because I didn't think the Celtics would ever be in this position, but I was listening to Cleveland a little bit yesterday because I was interested in what they were saying. And I can report from behind the lines, and then they don't like the new stadium because it's indoor, but some of them like it because there's going to be a big shopping district around it.
Okay. Wow. All right.
I can't believe there's going to be an indoor football stadium in Cleveland. That's insane, and it's not a retractable roof. It's just it's a glass domed stadium with no retractable roof.
That's dumb.
And it's 14 miles outside the city.
So you have the weather, which you should use to your advantage.
Well, it's also Cleveland's like it's that garbage Lake Erie and like in the dirty snow, like that's, and I mean this complimentary, like that's how you look at Cleveland, like in the
Yes,
playoffs.
The dog pound. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You want that. That's part of your identity. So now you're going to sanitize everything?
And I don't like that in my lifetime teams are playing in 3 different football stadiums in the same city.
I know. They just built that last one. How long ago?
I-
20,
Does it make
25?
I remember when it
feel
was
like
new.
Perhaps you've been on this earth too long.
Yeah, because I remember when the Cleveland Stadium was new, I'd been there and it was like, ooh, fancy. And then now that's antiquated because now the owners want to build what they did in Atlanta
I
for
was
the
just
baseball
say
stadium.
that's exactly what happened.
Or
in
what they
Atlanta.
did in Patriot Place, basically.
Yeah,
Is they
there's-
want to build a little town around the stadium. Even though I don't know why anyone would go more than 5 miles to go to Patriot Place, unless you want to go to Brass Pro Shops, and that's fun once. Unless they advertise, and it's fun every day.
Right.
All right, look. And that's the kind of self-censorship you'll get if you advertise here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'll stop bad-mouthing your business. All right, look. And I did go to the dentist yesterday, and the lady was rude.
Oh, really?
The receptionist, the same one?
Yeah, she
The one
didn't
that
know that
called
I
you?
said anything on the radio because there's no way. But she was just like, I go, I'm Fred Toucher. I'm here for 11 o'clock. And she goes, oh, you're the miss appointment.
Jesus.
And I went,
Yeah,
yeah.
rude.
And I went, yeah. And then I sat down. I mean, she's insane.
Is she 80?
Yeah.
It's very rude and it's
80.
very
Yeah,
nasty.
So you really can't do
I-
anything.
I didn't
Yeah.
say anything. No,
Yeah,
it's not like I
Did-
complained. I just took it.
Did Dennis say anything?
Nah, I don't think anyone in there knew. It shows the popularity of the show. If they did, they kept poker faces, and they did send me something to ask them to review their dentistry,
Oh yeah.
and so I did. I really gave it to them. No, I didn't do anything. But if there all these people are offering free dental care, I mean, I can't turn that down. You know. All right, look. This is a big loss, and days after big losses, you got to kind of play it by ear and see how interested you guys are in calling in and things of that nature. So we will stick with this. We'll comb through the game in just a moment. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Toucher and
Men's room rules, baby. I had a big old smoothie for breakfast.
What was in the smoothie?
Probiotics.
Oh, great.
In my refrigerator,
Let's set the over under time wise right now. I mean, it's already begun, but I'm going to say 8:07 is when it's going to get real fun. Let that thing percolate for about 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
La diarrhea.
Well, you know I'm not going to the bathroom here, so that's going to be everyone's fault. But Hardy's got golf show business to attend to after the show today.
It's golf show adjacent.
So so we at least we get to leave.
Yeah.
All you guys have to stay.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll zoom in from the road.
I'll be gone for 8 hours today.
Yeah.
Watching.
Fred's got a full day.
I got a real fun day. What happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened. So change your lettuce, and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lepresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR.
Lettuce.
It's like hair.
Yeah. It's cool.
It's like the Minnesota hockey state finals when the guys come up with those sweet lettuce. Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about? They always have their flow, their lettuce is what they say.
Right.
You've never seen the videos of that?
No.
The state playoffs in hockey in Minnesota, they video the kids coming out like while they call their names, and they come out without helmets on. So the big thing is they all do something demonstrative or have crazy haircuts.
Oh.
And it used to just be mullets, but now it's like, kids are just shaving the top of their head and then leaving the rest kind of long. Like it's a real.
Sounds nice.
It's disrespectful to the game, is what it is.
Yeah.
Cut those sideburns, boy.
Which is fun and everything before the game when you're doing your skate out, but afterward, if you lose, how big of an idiot do you feel like walking around with that hair?
I almost like it because it doesn't seem like they particularly care.
They don't care about winning or losing the game.
It doesn't. It looks like it looks like it's degenerated into like just kind of like it's like a fun thing for them to do.
Okay.
It's like prom.
Okay.
Yeah, I do like that, and sometimes
it's not about actually dancing. It's just about we're just gonna go to this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's about afterwards to see if you could get laid. I think it's the same. Oh yeah, that's right. Your daughter's going.
We have 2 proms this spring.
Oh,
my daughter not happy with me today because, like, I have any control over this. This thing that I have to go to after the show today is a commercial shoot. So she comes home from school yesterday and says to me, "Do you have like some kind of a shoot or something after tomorrow?" I'm like, "Yeah. How would you know about it?" She's like, "Hannah and Brianna are going to be there." I'm like, "What?" And 2 of her friends for their externship are working with this videographer and this production company, and they're going to be PAs on this thing that I'm doing today. I'm like, "Great." And she's mortified that I'm going to be with her friends and she's not there.
Hardy's not telling the whole story. They're externing at the with heads greenkeepers, and they're doing the slope checks.
No.
It's every girl's fan.
They're carrying the stimp meter.
You think they would allow some high school kid to operate the stimp meter?
Well, at least externally view it. I mean, you could do
You
that.
could be there while the super is running the stimp meter, but they're not going to let some kid get their high school hands all over.
But what if they were there for the stimp meter, and then they could relay the information to you before it went public?
Oh,
that'd be like insider trading.
I'd be convinced they screwed it up.
It would just be a matter. They could photograph the stimp meter paper.
Okay, that I would trust.
Then you would be able to review it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if they were just, because they don't even text anymore. All they do is snap. They snap each other.
Yeah, because those are erase. If a girl asks you for her snap, it's because she's married.
Oh.
Interesting.
And you got to stay away.
Okay.
Right.
You don't want that mojo on you, baby.
Got it.
Noted. All right, let's go through some of the plays last night. Everyone keeps talking about the 20-point lead, 20-point lead. The last time the Celtics had a 20-point lead last night was at this moment.
Up by 17 now with 3:22 to go in the third quarter of game 2. Porzingis posting up. That's where the ball goes against Bridges. Porzingis draws the double team in the paint. Forces it out to Tatum. Up fakes the 3. Return to Porzingis. He'll try a 3 and knock it down. And the Garden erupts.
That was a tough shot, though. Off the wrong leg.
Okay, so that was in the third quarter. Once again, many parallels to game 1. However, at the start of the fourth, they were still up 12 points, 73-61 to begin the fourth quarter. Now, let's check in with Peyton Pritchard, who also was responsible for some offense last night and some made threes. There weren't a ton, but this one right here.
Tatum wants it because Anunoby's not on him. That's where the ball goes. Spins on McBride. Stumbles into Hart. Hart slaps the ball away. Tatum saves it, pushing it back to Pritchard for a straightaway 3.
Celtics again. These are some lucky bounces for the Celtics right now.
Okay, that is a notable field goal. John, do you know why?
Yeah, because it happened with 8:40 to go, and they didn't make a shot. They missed 13 straight shots after he made that one. 13 straight misses after that made shot with 8 minutes and 40 seconds left.
So, again, at the 8:40 mark last night, Celtics up 84-68. Not going to go through the whole play-by-play, but let's just say there's misses, there are turnovers, there are plenty of rebounds. Hell, Jason Tatum had a ton of rebounds last night, just no made field goals. Until we get toward the end of the game, and Jason Tatum goes coast to coast.
Tatum will trigger it from under his own basket. It's in the hands of Derek White. He returns to Tatum, and here we go. 20 seconds to go. Tatum dribbles past Robinson, flies in for a two-hand slam. Nobody stopped the ball. And for 48 hours of everyone in Celtics Nation screaming to take it to the rim, Jason Tatum just did it coast to coast with as much authority as you can imagine.
Now, why did that happen, Fred?
I think they let him.
I kind of think they let him a little bit.
Once it was clear you weren't going to stop him, or best case scenario, you were going to foul him, you let him go.
Well, in real time, I thought they let him score, and then when they played the replay and Reggie Miller was saying, oh, look at that move, even on the replay, even though Reggie Miller was saying that, I was thinking that didn't look like they were really trying to get in his way. Like, it didn't look like they were trying to foul. It didn't look – I mean, they could have – they could have clotheslined them. I mean, they could have done something. Clear path foul.
They wanted to go quick. They wanted to go quick there. Once Tatum got downhill and was moving toward the basket, fine. But 24 seconds left in the game. Sure. Yeah. Well, you want to go quick?
Guarantees you a chance at a win, whereas before the Celtics could have held the ball for one shot.
Right. And it allows the Knicks to say, oh, okay, yeah, go ahead, go quick here, and we're going to get the ball, and we're going to have plenty of time. So that made it 90-89. Brunson gets fouled on the other end, makes both of his free throws. 91-90. Here we go. Final possession.
No timeout. Holiday's got it. 12 seconds to go. Back to Tatum.
Let's just stop. Let's just stop. Get the ball underneath the basket on the other end. They have a timeout left. Does Joe Mazzulla call a timeout?
No.
No,
he does not call a timeout. He has one, but
got a timeout.
Nope, not
no
calling
timeout.
it.
All right.
No timeout. Holiday's got it. 12 seconds to go. Back to Tatum. Cross half court. Tatum behind the Horford screen. Tatum, 5 seconds. Tatum at the free throw line. Tatum falling away in a baseline. His pass blocked by Bridges, and the Knicks have done it again. The Celtics do not get a shot away. And the New York Knicks, written off as a championship contender midway through this season, have just recorded 3 extraordinary victories on the road to put themselves up 2-0 in the Eastern Conference semifinals.
Tatum dribbled into basically a corner, wound up on the left baseline with 2 guys in his face. I'm not an expert at this, but it seems like you'd want a higher percentage shot at the end of the game.
Okay, let's start with not calling the timeout. How about you set up something on the other side of half court and you give yourself a chance to run a play as opposed to just letting your best player dribble the ball and move around and move into nothingness and then get the ball taken away. I mean, this happened at the end of regulation in game 1 where Tatum just stands there with the ball. I'm just going to take a shot. Don't you got no plays? Don't you got no plays you can run? You're down 1. You're down 1. You need a 2-point shot. That's all you need. You just need a field goal. Anything. No. We're going to let Tatum go out there and cook. Well, he wasn't cooking. He wasn't cooking in game 1. He's not cooking last night.
Missoula thought he had a good look at the basket, too. I don't know what he was looking at.
I'll go back to what I just said earlier. If Jalen Brunson is in that exact same situation, does he wind up on the baseline with 2 guys in his face?
No, he's a clutch player of the year, John. That's an unfair comparison. And Tatum's sneaky, not clutch.
If you want,
for years I've been saying it.
If you're Jason Tatum and you want to be recognized as one of the best players in the game, and he is recognized as either the third or fourth best player on the planet. Of course he is. These last 2 games have not helped him. Last night certainly didn't help him.
Well, no, this is a horrible scenario for him because they're playing New York. And, no basketball gets attention like New York basketball. We've been over this a million times. Every national announcer, every national talking head is a Knicks fan, except for Bill Simmons. And the Celtics, you really want that? He's way over the top with this stuff. And so, they're all Knicks guys, so this is like the biggest stage. This in some ways is as big a stage as the finals, or even bigger than the finals last year. I mean, Saturday in the Garden, the Madison Square Garden, Saturday in Madison Square Garden in a must-win game for the Celtics. I mean, that's going to be, is it going to be annoying? That place is going to be the amount of jackassery and everything else that's going on there.
Everybody in the front row.
The big posing and the Spike Lee.
I wonder if Spike Lee will be there.
But Spike Lee wasn't there last night. I didn't see him.
I didn't see him. They didn't show him. Dana White was there. Saw him there last night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there was a slap fight after.
Hey, Coach, how about that no timeout?
Joe, what was the thought process with not calling timeout there with 12 seconds left?
I had one left, got a good look on the exact same play 20 seconds earlier, tried to execute the exact same thing. They did a better job of their lower pickup point, and we weren't able to get the advantage that we had on the last Tatum dunk. So good full court setting. They subbed out Towns, weren't able to sub out Brunson, had action there, and we just didn't execute.
Oh, I see. Because the last time you were in that situation, Tatum went coast to coast and dunked it, and you thought you would just do that again. You thought that maybe the Knicks wouldn't be ready for that this time. Oh, okay.
Well, that counters they let him score. Or maybe it confirms they let him score.
1,000 pardons. I didn't know you did have a play. The play was Tatum was just going to dribble all the way down the court and dunk it again. Oh. My apologies,
Well,
Coach.
there was a screen on that play. I mean, there was 2 players involved in that. Maybe this confirms that the Knicks let him score the first time because they certainly defended it differently this time.
That was your whole plan. Dunk it. Take the ball and dunk it.
Well, there was a screen again. There was a screen, and then he moved off that screen and was able to jam it.
The execution.
Razzle-dazzle jammeroo.
Look, in slow motion, I agree with you. There was something to it, and it was, a phenomenal, coast-to-coast play, and he moved off the screen.
I think they let him score.
Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But to think you would be able to do it a second time on consecutive plays is ridiculous.
I'm agreeing with you because that's my point. I think they let him score, so therefore you would not be able to do it on consecutive plays because they're playing defense the second time.
None of this should be happening to a team that won the NBA championship last season. None of it. None of these mistakes should be happening. None of these the mistakes the Celtics made last year are. You know what those mistakes are like? Those are the mistakes that Detroit made against the Knicks in the first round.
Yeah.
That's the kind of mistakes you're making. You're making the same mistakes as a young team that's never been there before.
Let's hear.
This shouldn't be happening to you.
All right, one more thing about the final quote-unquote play of the game.
how much is the time consideration a factor there with 12 seconds, giving yourself a couple cracks at it if you advance the ball there potentially?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So you don't know that at the point of JT was driving left, thought he had a good look, saw it at an angle, didn't shoot it, and ran out of time.
That's what I'm saying is I think that he believes that Tatum had a shot there that he didn't take. I didn't see the shot, but what are you going to do? All right, Missoula sees the game obviously far better than I do, except for the letting them score part, which now I'm digging in on. But then we'll have a couple people on and they'll disagree with me, and then I'll have to we'll get way into it. We'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Once again, the New York Knicks came back from down 20 points in the third quarter and beat the Celtics at TD Garden last night. This time 91-90. Celtics had the ball last. Jason Tatum couldn't get a shot off. They are down 2-0 in this best-of-7 second-round playoff series. Game 3 is Saturday afternoon at Madison Square Garden. Drew Holiday yesterday voted the winner of the NBA's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Trophy for being the league's social justice champion. Wilyer Abreu hit a pair of homers. Alex Bregman added a 2-run shot. Red Sox beat Texas 6-4 at Fenway Park. They'll play them again this afternoon. And the New England Revolution beat Rhode Island FC last night 2-1. The Revs now through to the round of 16 of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm John Wallach at Boston Hill for Sports 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.
like to discuss.
Well, I want to share some good news with you, having to do with your Boston Red Sox, who were down to the Texas Rangers last night.
Swinging a high fly ball left field, headed back toward the seats, and it is gone.
Ooh, give it to a donkey. It's out there in left field.
The Plymouth Rock side and a home run for Bregman, number 9. Yes, the 200th of his career as well.
Oh, yeah.
You don't get the donkey?
No, what am I missing?
Donkey's only going left field.
Democrats.
Ah.
The left.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes they go over your head.
Yeah.
I thought it was
totally went over my head. You're right.
Thought it was
Well, it did. It did.
I thought it was.
You're acting like it's a sarcastic statement. It went over your head.
I'm not being sarcastic at all. I'm stating a point of fact.
Still got to kind of. You're all upset about the Celtics. I get it. I'm not going to be too hard on you today.
Thank you.
Well, you're Abreu would tie the game with another solo homer to make it 2-2.
Take him to the ball. Put a tie on him.
Okay. Well, I don't want to deny you.
Swinging a high fly ball. That's driven deep. Way back. Garcia looking up. Kissing goodbye.
Garcia. Out of here. See you later.
Abreu. Second
God, I'm blinded. I can't see ya.
run in the inning, and the Red Sox have tied it 2-2.
God, what are you standing right in front of me? I can see ya. Kiss it goodbye. It's a ding-dong-a-roo. Hit it in the stand souvenir. Dunkity-doo, homeroo.
It's still your best one.
I don't know about that. I like my donkey call. System of a ribbon.
I like my donkey call.
Well, you're Abreu not done for the night.
Is this another one?
Swinging a high drive down the right field line in the direction of the pesky pole. That is gone.
Ooh, that pole is very pesky. Best avoid it on the home run side. And dig along.
He's done it again. His second of the ball game. Red Sox flashing some muscle tonight. Now on top.
Take him to the beach. Show a little leg, flex a little muscle. Put some bronzer on it. Take him to be a Italian at the Jersey Shore. Show a little muscle. The situation.
The Red Sox. Hey, they got a win. 6-4 over the Rangers. Snaps a 3-game losing streak. They will go again this afternoon at 1:35 p.m.
Love the businessman special. Did you see Aroldis Chapman last night?
No, I didn't see it.
Aroldis Chapman's been very, very good for the Red Sox. He's 38 as a closer this year. He's 37 years old. Threw the fastest pitch in Major League Baseball this season, 104 miles an hour.
He's a large human being.
Yes.
I mean, he's a very, very large man.
Threw a fastball 104 last night.
Oh, God.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy what people can do now. It's crazy that kids can throw in the 90s now.
Yeah.
We have one more NBA game to get to from last night as the Oklahoma City Thunder jumped out to a lead. Now, as we all know, 20-point leads, not safe in the NBA for the best of teams. 30-point leads, though, yeah, you should be in good position to polish off a playoff opponent with a score like this.
Guzman Zhang rebounds. Staccato applause breaks out at Paycom Center. The Thunder have even this best of 7 Western Conference semifinal series emphatically in Game 2, 149-106. And
they had 87 points at halftime. I think they had 124 after 3.
149-106.
Good Lord.
The issue never in doubt as OKC manages to right the ship after their Game 1 home loss. They pick up a win in Game 2, so that series is now even. And after the game, I think it was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was congratulated on being the first home team to win in the playoffs, not knowing that the Celtics had lost the early game on the night. And there was a moment where I think that registered. Not that they're thinking about them right now, but probably didn't hurt his feelings to know that Celtics had lost again.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander played 30 minutes. He was a plus 51 last night.
Come on.
Yeah, that game was they managed to keep the lead. That game was never in doubt. That was a team that led from tip to tail. They got up big early. and then they stayed ahead, and then they continued to be ahead.
87-56 at halftime.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, there wasn't much of a reason to stay up for that game. And they played everybody.
Yeah.
Steph Curry is also going to miss a week, we find out, with that hamstring strain. So he underwent an MRI yesterday. He's going to be reevaluated in a week, so at least a week.
But these are the great games because these are the games where Draymond Green gets to play offense, and it is. I love when they let Draymond Green play offense. He had 18 points. He was 4 for 10 from 3. I mean, I think he hit 4 3-pointers. He might have hit 4 3-pointers in a row, and then went 0 for 6. But when they let Draymond, there's been playoff games he had 30 points. When they let him shoot,
he can shoot a little bit.
He was a great scorer at Michigan State. Like they let him shoot. He gets to play a little offense. It's fun. He becomes the third option when Steph Curry's out. With Buddy Hield playing the way he is, and so you have Jimmy Butler and Buddy Hield, but then you get Draymond to be the third option. It's a lot of fun. Tonight, that game, Anthony Edwards versus Draymond Green. Two superstars head to head. It's going to be a lot.
Oh, that'll be something to watch. The Celtics game last night, game 1 was a good game. I said out loud, I'm like, this is a good game. There's some back and forth. Last night was not a good game. It was a sloppy game on both ends.
Well, the beginning of that game, I mean, there was the bookends of that game were terrible.
Yeah, I mean the best part about the game in terms of just watching the sport was watching what the Knicks did at the end of the third and the fourth quarter. Jalen Brunson specifically watching him, but otherwise that wasn't a good game to watch.
Were the Knicks 0 for 9 to start the game because they took the 3 away?
Actually, I think that's right. I think
it was.
If it wasn't 9, it was more.
Well, the Celtics held them without any points after they took that 3 away. It took the Knicks 5 minutes to score.
Yeah, so
just under 5
Celtics may have been
minutes.
0 for 9 on their first 9 3-pointers.
Yeah,
they missed a bunch of threes at the beginning.
Well, you can put it in perspective. Oklahoma City nearly had as many points in a half as both the Celtics and the Knicks had for a game last night.
All right, well, I can do this exercise quickly. The Knicks lose it on a shot clock turnover. They miss a shot. That's 2 possessions. They another turnover. That's 3 possessions. Another missed shot. That's 4 possessions. 5 possessions. Another missed shot. 6 possessions. Missed shot. 7 possessions. Missed shot. I could go on and on and on and on and on. Then 8 possessions. Yeah. Then. Jesus Christ, they missed a lot of shots. Then 9 possessions.
Yeah, first 5 minutes.
Then 10 possessions. Then 11 possessions.
Wow. Yeah.
Then 12 possessions. 13 possessions.
Yeah, 7:09 mark.
14 possessions.
Yeah. Karl Anthony Towns made
15 possessions.
The Celtics were up.
Made the first bucket at the 7:09.
I think they were up 19-9 early. I mean, the Knicks barely got double figures in the first quarter. It was bad.
Yeah, that was real bad in the beginning. I missed a basket in there. It wasn't 15 possessions. But it was a lot of possessions. All right, look, we will be back. We will take a little break from the Celtics because we have our man on the street. This is not a bit. He's in Vatican City. There is news coming out of the Vatican. There really is, and he really is in Vatican City. It's not like a Father Guido Sarducci kind of thing. I mean, the guy's really there. He's a guy who's in management at the station. We're going to talk to him very quickly.
the Sports Hub, Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Monday night, the Celtics took a 75-55 lead on the Knicks and lost by 3 in overtime. Last night, they led 73-53 in the third quarter.
Holiday's got it. 12 seconds to go. Back to Tatum. Cross half court. Tatum behind the Horford screen. Tatum, 5 seconds. Tatum at the free throw line. Tatum falling away in a baseline. His pass blocked by Bridges, and the Knicks have done it again.
That is Sean Grandy here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. The Knicks held the Celtics without a field goal for over 8 minutes in the fourth quarter and came all the way back to beat the Green 91-90 at TD Garden. They lead this playoff series 2-0. Game 3 Saturday afternoon at Madison Square Garden. Red Sox got 2 homers from Wilyer Abreu and 2-run home run from Alex Bregman. They beat Texas at Fenway Park 6-4. They'll play them again at Fenway this afternoon. And the New England Revolution beat Rhode Island FC last night 2-1 to advance to the round of 16 of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the DeMore McKim School of Business at Northeastern University. You'll prepare to lead with impact through transformative experiences. Learn more at their weekly admissions events. Save your spot at northeastern.edu/business events. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5 The Sports Hub. Toucher and Hardy.
Such an fantastic explosion.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Here's Vatican Jack.
All right.
Cool. Right into it. Wow.
Let's not beat around the bush. Is this for the whole company?
No.
No, it's just for us.
Oh, I thought maybe this was what the whole company was using.
They should.
Our man Cadillac he paid his own way. He went by himself. He's a big-time Catholic. He wanted to be there for history as they look to elect a new pope in Vatican City. He is out there, and the Cadillac, hello.
Good morning, guys.
Well, look at you. Are you on like a line?
I'm very professional here, yes.
Oh, my.
I've got a real microphone. I've got a real connection. Doesn't it sound good?
It
does.
Really,
Do you have like a field mic with you?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness, Cadillac. You are taking this very seriously. This adds
Look at him there. It's
believe me.
Yeah, it's he's got headphones and everything.
Wow, well, this adds a certain heaviness to the affair. You're like a real correspondent. I thought you were just going to be on the phone, and now all of a sudden it's. I feel like Walter Cronkite.
Are we supposed to have intelligent questions? Because I wasn't told about any.
Well, I do know something's going on.
You know what, though?
Go ahead.
There's a press area, like a little bit outside, that we do this stuff from, because right in St. Peter's Square you can't broadcast live from, but there's an area on the roof of the buildings right to the left of the basilica that I'm going to be heading to later on this afternoon when they do the remaining votes, because you can't really see the chimney from there, but you got a great shot of the window that the Pope comes out of. Anyway, that's 100 steps up. There is no elevator. So you know how heavy this microphone is, right? Plus the laptop, plus all the other stuff in my bag. Like, there's no way that I could possibly make it up there with all this stuff. So,
well, you're a field correspondent. You got to figure it out. If people could be in the trenches of Nam, you could do this.
Field correspondents are in much better shape than I am.
I don't know if that's the case at all, my friend. All right. Well, look. Okay, so you decided to go to the Vatican. You're Catholic. You decided that this was something that you wanted to see, and it is, it's this global, obviously, situation. It's being covered. I mean, it's on TV right now. It's on every TV right now, except for the Karen Reed one. All right, so you are out there, and how much? So what is it like? Where are you in relation to the Vatican? What's the scene like? How many people, and what are people doing? What is there to do while you're waiting around?
Oh, it's really like not much while you're waiting, but then when it gets close to the time of the smoke, like last night, it's weird. First of all, these guys are not on any kind of schedule. I mean, they are on their own time. They told us they were going to see smoke around 7 o'clock last night. So around 7 o'clock, St. Peter's Square filled up, maybe 50,000 people or so right in the square. And then all the journalists are packed. You can't find one seat here to sit at and do anything. And we waited till 9 o'clock. The smoke wasn't happening till 9 o'clock. Everybody was starting to think like maybe they did get a pope on the first vote. Nobody wanted to leave. And then the minute the smoke came out, then everybody just disperses and kind of comes back later. So, yeah, there's a lot of kind of hurry up and wait. But that's kind of what the rhythm of the whole conclave is what I'm figuring out.
Okay, so
we did have black smoke about an hour ago.
Yeah, so that is the black smoke came out in the morning for us, and I guess in the morning for you too. It was okay. So and what does the black smoke signify, and was that surprising?
It wasn't surprising. Black smoke signifies no pope. White smoke signifies they have a pope, and literally when it gets close to the time, maybe within an hour and a half of when the smoke might be coming out, all the monitors in St. Peter's Square, they have big, huge TVs set up. They have obviously big TV set up in the media center here. They're just focused on a still shot of the chimney. And then all of a sudden you'll hear people start clapping or screaming or doing whatever when they think smoke is coming out. And there's no warning on it. So black smoke is no pope. White smoke is a pope. They do 4 votes a day, 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and they burn those 2 sets of ballots together. So the smoke comes out twice a day.
Okay, so what is your
until
day?
They have a pope.
What is your day like? Like because you're there, you're by yourself. What is you like? Take us through your day.
Oh, geez. Okay, well, this morning, what's it going to be like today? This morning, I went to bed about 1 o'clock because I went out to dinner at 10:30 last night. And then woke up at 9:30 maybe, took a shower, had a little breakfast, came over here about 10:30, set up because I wanted to have a space. I got, I think, the last seat here. I talked to one of our stations in Charlotte about a half an hour ago, talking to you guys, talking to a couple other people. I'm done around 2:30 Rome time. And then I'm going to try and get to a restaurant to have lunch because they close at 3. And then come back to drop off my bag so I don't carry this thing around with me. And then get back to St. Peter's Square by, say, 5 o'clock, just in case they have a white smoke coming out around 5:30, 11:30 your time.
Dinner at 10:30.
Because 5:30 and 7, 5:30 and if they don't have it on the 4th vote, the 5th vote will be right after that. So the smoke will either come out white around 5:30-ish or white or black around 7 o'clock our time here in Rome.
Okay.
1 o'clock Boston time.
First of all, dinner at 10:30. How European of you.
Someone's really flexing.
Yeah. But this is a famously, secret and very, the old process where no information comes out whatsoever. And I'm sure that doesn't stop speculation, but is there any other information you get there? Because watching it on TV here, the few times that it's happened over the years, it literally is just nobody knows anything and you're just watching the chimneys for the smoke. Is there anything else that you get there that you don't get from watching on TV?
I mean, it sounds crazy, but no, there is nothing there. They are shut out. The Cardinals are shut out from the world, and the world is shut out from them. They even have like shutters up on the windows so that drones can't somehow see in or anything. They got all the jamming equipment set up within a radius of the Sistine Chapel and St. Peter's Square. So no, it's really, that's why everybody kind of starts gathering an hour ahead of time because they don't know if they're on schedule or what they're doing inside. Last night proved to be a lot later than everybody thought, but today was about 10 minutes early.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking when I ask like what you do. So like the exercise is to go and like just kind of sit there. And so once you've ingested everything that's going on, there's still many, many hours in the day. Are you finding it like fulfilling like all day long? Or do you feel like, wow, I've seen this? And now it's becoming monotonous.
I feel like it's all about being in the location when the white smoke comes out.
Okay.
So up until that, there's not a lot to see or do. But when the white smoke comes out, and then the Pope is going to appear on the balcony about an hour after that, and it happens once every 15 years. I have a press pass for this. I have a good location. It's something that I will never. I wouldn't do this if I didn't have the press pass and have access to areas that are a little bit set off from the crowd of 50,000. You know what I mean? I don't go to Times Square on New Year's Eve. So, and the fact that I'm able to do this now, it's never going to happen again. I mean, if this guy, the new Pope, they average around 12, 15 years-ish. If most of them are in their late 60s, early to mid 70s.
Yeah.
So that's very morbid of you. You don't think in 12 years you could go back to the Vatican? You're not that old. You're not an old guy.
Here. Come on, Cadillac.
I mean, Jesus, Cadillac.
Wow.
Well, I wouldn't go. I wouldn't want to go now. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like I just don't. I don't. Go to Times Square New Year's Eve. I wouldn't want to go to.
You're forecasting the radio industry. And you're saying you will not have a press pass.
It's not so much for the health of the Pope. It's for the health of careers in the industry.
Oh, I understand. I understand what you're saying, Cadillac. You're saying that all of us should be on our toes. If you don't know, Cadillac's in management, so this is a negotiation ploy by Cadillac. I understand. I understand why you're out there. Well, is it, as a Catholic, is it very moving? Does it seem to like heighten your spirituality? Do you find it to be a spiritual experience?
I do. Yeah, I find it to be. There's a continuity, that goes back to St. Peter. Really, I mean, if you really want to get into it. So we're talking about a couple thousand years, and this tradition, the Gregorian chants when the cardinals entered the Sistine Chapel yesterday, and the smoke signals. I mean, it's very primitive, really, when you think about it, but it's not really changed. And I think that there's something really special about it. It's the only thing in the world like this, and this man is going to be probably the most famous man in the world. The most recognized individual. There's 1.4 billion Catholics around the world, and I don't know. I mean, I think about wow, what goes through this guy's head when they need 89 votes out of the 133 to get elected. What goes through your head when you hear the votes being counted and the tally? Okay, so Fred Toucher got 84 votes. We're going to vote again right away. What is going through your head? Are you going to accept? Are you going to, and you're going to be in this position till you die. That's it. You're not going back home. You're not taking that plane ride back home. It's pretty crazy.
Well, Fred's not going to accept their first offer. I can tell you that right now. It's going to be a process.
Thank you, Hardy. It's going to if this. I'll dig in.
Right. For sport, it's not even necessarily for terms. You're just by
speaking as another famous man. It's the art of the deal. It's the art of the deal, my friend. All right. Well, so what is the schedule? I'm sorry, I forgot. So what is the schedule for today again? What is the smoke schedule? What is the announcement schedule?
The smoke schedule for today, let's see, in Boston, if they have a Pope on the fourth vote, because they've completed 3 votes so far, it'll be around 11:30 in the morning that we'll see the white smoke. And if they get a Pope on the 5th vote or don't, we'll see the results of that around 1 in the afternoon. But it won't be both. It'll probably be around 1 in the afternoon unless they elect the Pope on the 4th vote.
All right. Well, Cadillac, I'm glad you got to be there. I'm glad that this is solidifying your faith. I'm being serious. I'm glad that this is a beautiful experience for you, and there is a beauty into that. It is an ancient tradition, or if not, it goes back thousands of years. There is a beauty to that, and it is very unique in the world. So enjoy yourself and take it all in. And be present.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Cadillac.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
Thanks,
Cadillac.
Yeah. I'll see you Monday.
All right.
All right.
Oh, well.
No longer Cadillac, though.
Hey, it's Vatican Jack.
Yeah.
Vatican Jack.
I like that.
Yeah, it even went over my head, and then now here we are. But Cadillac said no one knows. Well, there is one man that knows. You'll recall the last time the Pope was elected, if you could turn that off.
Oh, sure.
White smoke from Rome, really? Do we know who it is? We have a Pope, huh? I wonder what that means in terms of, tell me when you turn on the news channel, tell me what that means in terms of time. Doesn't even look white. Is that white? I guess it is. Is that their version of white smoke? I guess it is. Huh? It looks kind of dark to me, but I guess it's their version of white smoke. Yeah, there it is. Now it looks a lot whiter. There you go. Okay. The bells are ringing. Now there will be an enormous, there's enormous gathering already, but now the gathering will swell to millions. I mean, now it will swell to millions. Just lining that whole area. But now we have a Pope. There we go. And away we go.
Yeah, that's a man that knows a lot about the traditions of the Catholic Church.
It's like you're there.
Yeah, millions of people just going to come on up to the place. They're just going to.
I wonder if he'll be live this time, too, on whatever app he's on or whatever YouTube station he does.
Doesn't really look white. I guess that's their version
That's
of
their
white.
version of white, I guess, over there. Yeah. I mean, that's that's more of a brown.
It's dirty. They're off-white.
Off-white, but I mean, it's smoke. So, I mean, what are you going to do? You know, burns.
Whatever it is.
Yeah,
or like a home Yankees white. You know, I guess they almost like pinstripes.
Wouldn't that be cool if they could pinstripe it? What do you think, Aaron Judge? Who, Mantle or Judge? Who's Pope? Or do you go DiMaggio?
Yeah.
DiMaggio had his off the field issues, so not a nice man.
A conclave, okay, of Yankees players, okay. Well, who do they select?
You got Lou Gehrig. I mean, he was a great man. But Mantle was an alcoholic. He had that. Mm-hmm. He had that against him. But that country boy could run. I mean, if he never hurt his knee, now we're talking about. What are we talking about?
Yeah, top 5.
Talking about 7. We're talking about 700 home run.
He could have been emperor. Forget Pope.
I mean, they could have rewritten the book for him. There could have been a New Testament, even more modern Testament. That kid, he doesn't step on that sprinkler head. I mean, forever. I mean, we're talking about
the Book of Mick.
Well, listen, stranger things have happened, and then maybe he's not an alcoholic, and then maybe then maybe
he saves himself.
Maybe he's still playing.
Stupid DiMaggio.
With the DH.
Yeah.
He could have played forever. Mantle. Interesting. Or maybe you get Donnie Baseball.
Donnie
Todd
Mattingly, really?
Yeah, mustache. Underrated defensive player. Huh. Great defensive first baseman. So anyway.
Now start yelling at a producer who's talking here. What?
It's not even so much yelling anymore. It's what?
Who said that?
What? Who?
You're wrong.
No. The Big East tournament's still it's still going on. Huh? That'd be wrong. 9. All right, very good. That Long Island accent is something else. My mother, she went to school right after she got out of St. Lawrence to get rid of that thing. But Francesa's had a long and beautiful broadcasting career with that terrible, terrible Long Island accent.
Is he broadcasting?
He made more money than me. He was part of that great Mike and the Mad Dog show, which I dare you to listen to, a repeat of.
I'll listen to Mad Dog all day, but Mike and the Mad Dog, different story.
No, Mad Dog's better without Mike.
Of course.
He's 100 times better without Mike. There's no one to drag him down. Mike is incredible drag.
There's no know-it-all to filibuster for 20 minutes.
Do you think it's any coincidence that Mad Dog has never had a bigger career? And he's in his 60. I think he's 65 years old.
Yeah.
And his career is bigger than it's ever been because he doesn't have Mad Dog or Mike dragging him
there
down.
There have been multiple chances for the two of them to get back together.
He'd be out of his mind.
And Mad Dog has not taken the bait. He's stayed where he is. You know this, Fred. There have been chances for the two of them to reunite over the years, and Dog has stayed away.
Well, yeah. I mean, why would I do that again? I won all the money. I wouldn't want. I'm doing better without him. Why would I want to do that?
If you saw that 30 for 30, the relationship between the two of them wasn't fantastic when they were working together.
It's very difficult.
Okay,
because they came in as adversaries. Like Francesa didn't want him there, and then you're put on the ropes if you're Mad Dog, and then
Francesa assumed that when they gave him the show, he was going to be by himself.
Right, and
you're wrong about that.
And then you have one guy positioning himself as superior, and then so the other guy gets his hair up, and then I mean that's and then now why would he want it? I mean, Mad Dog now is doing ESPN. He's probably making more money than he's ever made. He's probably making more money than he ever made.
What?
In this environment, which is very difficult. All right, look, we'll be back. Our Abby Chin. We'll talk about the Celtics. We haven't talked about the Celtics this hour. We will talk about the Celtics for the remainder of the hour. Don't you worry. We will be back in just...
in those situations. So obviously you have an understanding of the environment. You're down 0-2. So, we got to get on the road and we got to find a way to win.
I wonder if they could make the promo for this station, Celtics broadcast, another minute longer. It's it never ended.
It's a 42-second promo.
Jesus Christ. And there was no sponsors in it either, is the funny thing. Ryan has a good point. Ryan, this is a double backing a little bit. Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, hey, I was going to say, I don't know if it works like the Queen and King thing in England, but shouldn't Naked Man in the Trunk be the next Pope because he's the son of the Pope?
That is absolutely true that the naked guy in the trunk did inform the police when he was found naked in the woman's trunk that he was the son of the Pope.
Yeah.
But I don't think popes have a long line of kin that follow them in that they are to be celibate, if I am not mistaken. Now, if you're a Episcopalian minister, you can have all the kids you want. You can get married and have sex and you can have sex and everything else. But I think that if you are still a Catholic priest, that you are not to fornicate. If I am, if I don't know, listen, the last pope was very progressive as popes go, so I don't know if they've relaxed any of those rules. I'm not Catholic.
Yeah,
I'm the son of the Pope.
Well, that doesn't matter. That being the first, the eldest son or anything else, it doesn't give you a leg up.
You wouldn't have a son. The Pope wouldn't have a son, I think. I think that's why why we know the naked man in the trunk was lying, and if not, there's quite a scandal.
Sure.
Plus, he's Canadian.
I'm the son of the Pope.
No.
When was the last time there was a Canadian Pope?
Yeah.
I mean, not for at least 50 years. Right, naked guy in the trunk? We can
It's
agree.
a rite of passage.
I understand that, but we can agree on that.
Yeah.
There's never been a guy that sounded more like the crime he committed than the naked guy in the trunk.
Right.
Yeah.
Just that bemused, giving in.
It's a rite of passage.
Okay.
He's like having fun with it. He's like, yeah, I was naked in the
Pope.
I was naked in the trunk. All right, well, listen. The Celtics, you heard Joe Mazzulla. His wonky eyes were going all over the place yesterday, but he did handle it. He didn't get as combative. 2 losses at home will do that to you. Mm-hmm. You can't be as combative with the media. Abby Chin was there. She covers the Celtics, the pre- and post-game, of course, sideline reporter for NBC Sports Boston. Abby, hello.
Good morning. A little Pope talk is not what I was expecting.
Well, listen, this is a show of the people.
That's right.
And there are other things more important than your precious basketball, Abby Chin.
Can't tie us down to one thing.
Yeah, Abby. I mean, let's complain about the frivolous matters of the of sports when there's a new pope being elected. I get it. I see where you're at. Lamestream media. No, I get it. NBC. Makes sense. I'm connecting the dots. Anti-religion is what it is. All right. No, but
whoa. I was expecting pushback, but not like
well,
that.
Abby, I got to tell you, you're working. I'm kidding, of course. But
would you rather us focus in on you and Forsberg's pathetic excuse making after the Game 1 loss? Because awful announcing has already eviscerated you for your takes.
Yes.
And
we had Chris on yesterday, and then I didn't know that awful announcing has made great sport of me in the past. In fact, I've made this point several times. If I'm murdered, I blame it. Put it on awful announcing's head. So as they take my scandals and vocalize them, give a megaphone to them. But then I didn't know what they had said about you guys, and then I heard it, and I'm like, what the hell are they even talking about? Awful announcing got mad at Abby and Chris because they said that the crowd was quiet at the beginning of Game 1 because it was raining or something.
It was
that.
an early start
time,
and it was the rain. I assume you meant that made the traffic bad, Abby, which is actually spot on.
Number one, thank you for welcoming me to the club of awful announcing, trying to take us down.
Yeah.
Number two, I think what we were trying to point out is that the vibes were just a little off. Monday night, 7 o'clock, the Celtics usually start at 7:30.
That is
For
true.
the record, there are many NBA teams that start at 7, but the Celtics are generally 7:30.
How would you know? You're only the sideline reporter.
You're only there every game.
There, every game.
Right.
So, for the record. And and the rain, it was a Monday night, the vibes were not good. And I think that, honestly, after last night, Forsberg and I were proven right. Because once again, the 7 o'clock start, a wild ending felt almost like deja vu. So
Right.
I'm actually going to take credit for all of that.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big stretch. I don't even understand what the point was of that article. But listen, let's get the crowd yesterday. Every 3-pointer at the beginning of that game that the Celtics took, there was like a murmur. Was I imagining that? They made point of that in the national broadcast.
It was red there in the first half.
But I mean, there is a vibe now with the Celtics that, oh boy, here we go again, and here we went again.
No, I am working on a theory. I feel like the Orlando Magic stole somehow all of the Celtics 3-point juju in that series, and they have got to find a way to get it back. I can't tell you guys how many times throughout the regular season I sit next to the opposing team sideline reporter, and the Celtics, after a barrage of 3, the reporter would just look at me and go, wow. And I'm like, yeah, I know. This happens all the time. We have not seen that yet in this postseason, and it's clearly taking the Celtics out of their game. And you're right. It felt like every person inside TD Garden held their breath every time the Celtics took a 3, and everyone that went in felt monumental, like it was the biggest shot of the game. And it is just it just feels like a different team than the one we watched for 82 games through the regular season.
So how do you explain that? We were talking last hour about it looks like the Knicks are the team that won the championship last year, and the Celtics are here for the first time, like the Detroit Pistons or something else. How do you explain what has happened to this team over the first 2 games, especially in the second half?
I'm not sure. And I think if the Celtics could, they would have last night. I'm not sure. That was wild, and it was historic, right? The first time ever a team gave up 20-point leads in back-to-back playoff games. It's never been done before. And I think that this is a level of adversity that the Celtics did not face at all through the playoff run a season ago. And it is something Jaylen Brown said it last night. They're all going to have to look themselves in the mirror and figure out who they are. This is going to determine who they are as a group and to a man going forward and how they respond to this. But I really feel like coming in, maybe game 1, the Knicks, every single game that they played in that first round series against Detroit came down to crunch time. So they have just been living in this moment, living with their backs against the wall coming through. The Celtics hadn't necessarily played in a lot of games like that, particularly in the regular season. And that Orlando Magic series, only 1 or 2 came down to being close at the end. And so that first game, I felt like maybe the Celtics were just still trying to find their bearings. Last night, I don't have much of an explanation for it. It was clear that they got tight, got in their heads, especially when the Knicks started coming back, and then to not even get a shot off in both of those games on the final possession, it blows my mind.
Are you satisfied with Joe Mazzulla's answers when he was asked about A, not taking the timeout, and B, that final play that you just referenced, Abby, about not getting the shot off? He said things about not calling the timeout and the final play. Did you find any of the things that he said satisfactory?
I mean, you guys know it's Joe Mazzulla. He's not going to change. This is exactly who he has been the entire 3 years that he has been the head coach of this team. Those are the answers he's been given. As far as the timeouts, I know what Scal said post-game and that the playoffs are different, but for Joe Mazzulla and for this group, not calling timeout, and those are the things that he did and does throughout the regular season, is trust in his veteran group to figure it out on the floor. And we saw in the final play of the Pacers-Cavs game, too, not calling a timeout, trusting your star players to make a play when you need to with Tyrese Halliburton. That is a way to win a game in the NBA. So I believe Joe Mazzulla is sticking to what he does, what this group is used to from him. It did not work last night, obviously, but I feel like there's not, until you realize it, and maybe this is the point, but you don't need to change what's working in it because it has worked for this group up until then.
I want to talk a little bit about Jason Tatum, who had a night to forget last night, including dribbling into traffic and getting his shot blocked at the end of the game. I know you guys wanted to talk to him after the game last night, but you weren't able to. Why not?
Well, a fire alarm went off throughout the entire Garden, Arena, North Station, all of it. And this has happened once before. I think it was this season. And so everyone's sitting in the press room. We're waiting for Jason Tatum to come in and speak to the media. We all look around, and the first time it happened, we just kind of sat there, and security came in and said, nothing's going on. Everything's going to be okay. Everybody stay seated. Last night they came in, opened both the doors, rushed in. Jay Wessel, who is amazing. He works for the Celtics and handles all of their technical stuff. He came in and said, this is real. We got to go. Everybody out. And so everyone had to file out of the arena. I mean, I'm talking everyone. I called my producer, Paul Lucy, right away, and I could hear the alarms coming through his phone, and he said, nope, they're kicking us out too. And so apparently it felt a little ominous, a little indicative of the way the Celtics season, the Celtics
do you even get in trouble
so far.
do you even get in trouble if you're the guy who pulled the fire alarm, or was that a PR situation?
After a game like that, you're like, let's just flush this, get out of here.
Yeah, don't make the man get up there and talk. I mean, this is let's do something to help him. Yeah.
There's go that far.
There's worse things that could have happened. Listen, than that fire alarm getting pulled. I'm serious. I wonder if you get in trouble for pulling it. All right. Well, listen.
No, but Jason also has never shied away from answering those questions and stepping to the podium in those moments.
I'm of course kidding. I don't think Jason Tatum pulled or instructed someone to pull the fire alarm.
No,
no, I'm kidding. I'm just wondering
I
if.
don't think he was that relieved.
But I wonder if you were the guy who pulled the fire alarm, if they'd just be kind of like, get out of here. All right, you can go. Just,
you're good.
Let's not make a big issue about it.
Yeah.
Just get out of here.
I don't know, this blue stain on my fingers. Don't.
That's it.
You don't see nothing. You don't see anything.
You still believe the principle that if you pull the fire alarm, dye comes out. Jesus, Abby.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
What an innocent you are.
Happen? Are you sure?
This is someone who's never pulled a fire. Abby believes the old thing they told you in high school. That there's there's an ink thing that comes out of the fire alarm if you pull it.
Someone who's never pulled a fire alarm.
You know, they want you to pull the fire alarm. Like if there's a fire, they don't want to dissuade you from doing it. There's blue ink all over I'm blind. Well, good. I saw a fire and now I'm blind. All right, well, listen. I can't get out of the fire.
I want to save all these people, but this is a new jacket.
Yeah, exactly. or I'm blinded and now I'm going to die in the very blaze I reported.
Wait, so you're telling me it's not true? There's no ink in there?
Well, why don't you try it? What a sweet
Maybe
innocence.
Game 5 if we get there.
Yeah, what a sweet innocence from you, Abby. That is wonderful. That delighted me. All right, well, Abby Chin, NBC Sports Boston, thanks so much for getting up and joining us. We do appreciate it. Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Let's
Abby.
get the vibes. Let's get some better vibes.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Well, listen, it's not my responsibility. It's not my responsibility to do that.
Why don't you go to a game and get the crowd fired up, Fred?
You wanna pay that ticket for me, my friend? I'm a divorced man.
If there will be a
my
game
son
5.
goes to an ISL school and I'm divorced.
No, don't
I
say
can't.
that.
Game 5 if necessary.
God.
Freddie T, we should take up a collection, maybe start a GoFundMe so that you can attend the game and raise the vibe level.
Well, you know me. I'm a big cheerer. I'm in there going crazy. I'm living and dying with every shot.
You're dancing in the aisles. Put the camera on me. Put the camera on me.
I would be. Well, listen, Crash was dancing guy at the Bruins games. There were so few people at Bruins games that they would orchestrate something with Crash to put the camera on him, and he could just run around a whole mezzanine.
Yeah,
like,
he had room to breathe.
Like
and the other guy he was competing with did as well. Like it was a whole
like he could,
nobody there.
If you watch, it's on YouTube. There are videos of Crash being dancing guy at a Bruins game, and he had room to roam
with an entire section as his stage.
I'm not kidding. Like he literally had like an entire club section to run around in. And the Bruins were like cool with it. They were like, we need something.
Yeah.
Like we need something to do. So yeah, we have one guy with a mustache who I think is dead now. And then if he's not, I apologize. But I believe that. But if not, listen, I'm not saying I know. I'm just I had heard that, but maybe I'm wrong. He's not at games anymore.
No.
And then you have Crash. I mean, they wanted something.
They're going back and forth with the Jumbotron and like every week.
Yeah, they like wanted something to do, and we're like, sure,
maybe even more.
It was our idea, but they were all in. All right, look, we'll be back, and we'll continue to take your calls, 617-779-0985.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
For a second straight playoff game, the Celtics kicked away a 20-point third-quarter lead and lost to the Knicks, this time 91-90 at TD Garden. Jalen Brunson, the game-winning free throws with 12.1 seconds left. Celtics now down 2-0 after losing back-to-back games at home. They visit the Knicks for Game 3 on Saturday afternoon. Red Sox avoided a fourth straight loss with a 6-4 win over Texas at Fenway Park. Alex Bregman, a 2-run homer, career homer number 200 for him. Two teams will wrap up a 3-game series this afternoon. And in soccer news, the New England Revolution won at Rhode Island FC last night 2-1 to reach the round of 16 of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Freedom Boat Club. Don't buy a boat this summer. Join Freedom Boat Club. Enjoy unlimited usage of boats at 21 locations from the North Shore to P-Town. Go to freedomboatclub.com today. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8 o'clock.
You're listening.
We're Toucher and Hardy. We were talking very quickly about the fire alarms. One went off before Tatum could speak yesterday, and Abby said someone had ink on them, and I said they don't spray ink. Roy, you're a firefighter. Go ahead.
Oh. Good morning, guys. Just an FYI on that. So they have what's called a tamper dye on them,
right?
Which is invisible, but it's activated by water. So if your fingers sweat or you touch a cold glass, then your fingers turn blue. The ink will turn blue.
Okay, I have
so
a question.
It does not squirt anything else, though.
Right. As a fireman, how many times have you checked someone's hand for the tamper dye?
Including today, absolutely zero.
All right, thank you. But Roy, that is good to know that there is a tamper dye, but I stand by my, you pull a fire alarm, I think you're in good shape. In terms of as dyes go, now there's cameras everywhere, which I would imagine would be a deterrent. I mean, there's cameras. Who knew there was cameras in the halls here? They had a weird guy here about like 6 months ago in the halls. They sent out some video of the guy.
He was cute, though, scurrying around like a little squirrel.
It was a guy that looked like he was playing commando in an empty hallway. Like there was nothing for him to be hiding from, and there was nothing to hide behind, but yet he was keeping himself very low.
He was nimble.
Yeah, I mean, he was like doing somersaults and rolling around.
Is the
he was all
caller
low.
still there?
No.
You let the real life firefighter, Hardy, I'm sure, had some questions for him.
Yeah, I mean, just...
No, he's more of a tradesman. Not so much of a fireman.
If we had time, though, I'd do a little hose and valve talk with him. Sure.
Do you have a firefighter hat? Do you have one of those?
No, again, you guys are mislabeling him as someone who's pretending to be a cop or a fireman. That's Belichick. This is, he pretends to be in the military. This is, Hardy pretends to be a tradesman.
I pretend to be a tradesman. I pretty much am a cop, though. I have what I would call a tactical grade flashlight. And I do.
Yeah, there's a video of that.
And I do investigate things.
Well, and if you're a cop and his daughter's been involved in a minor car accident, you'll make a friend. Yeah, I mean he'll talk. Look, the Newton cops. I know a lot of them. They're very nice. They're very good to people.
Hardy, did you direct traffic at one point?
I did. Yeah. I did, John. Thank you for asking. Cummins Highway, in between Blue Hill Ave, heading over to that 5-way intersection of Cummins Highway and American Legion Highway, and it's this big mess, and it's just 2 lanes there going past the cemetery, and a car rear-ended a truck, and everybody who was traveling back toward Roslindale was just stuck behind this thing, and we were like the second car stuck behind it, and there was no way of getting around it. So I jumped out of the driver's seat, and I instructed my partner, wife, whatever, get in the driver's seat and wait until I direct you. And I hopped out, and I hopped across, and I let a few more cars go, and I stepped in front of the truck that had been rear-ended, and I stopped traffic, and I waved the first car through. I waved my wife through. I waved about 10 cars through, and more than one motorist who I was waving through rolled their window down to thank me.
Yeah.
Thank me for my service.
And then it froze. The camera froze at Hardy, just putting his palms up like no need to thank me. And then it went to credits.
Yeah.
It was called Hardy in the White Shadow, and it was a short-running 70s cop show where it was just a guy who directs traffic.
And when the people slowed down to thank me, I didn't say you're welcome. I said, keep it moving.
You know what I would have done?
Because you're not all about the accolades.
You know what would have been funny? If
you're about getting stuff done.
If someone, right when they were going by, the passengers cracked the door open, and right when they got next to Hardy, they kicked it, and then it flew into his knees.
You think I would have been standing close enough to allow that to happen?
They could have maneuvered the car. The car's got a steering wheel on it. I mean, it depends how fleet of foot you are.
It wasn't going to happen.
It was Hardy in the White Shadow. It's a husband and wife cop team on a detail, plainclothes.
White Shadow.
And all they do is they just drive up to accidents, and in plainclothes they get out and direct traffic. It was not a successful show. It only had a six episode run.
It was good for a pilot.
Other than Heart to Heart, has there been a crime-fighting husband and wife team on the TV?
Matt Houston was close, but he wasn't married to that.
Oh, well, the guy that you love. Matt Houston with the mustache. The guy you loved, the books with the mustache.
It's Spencer for Hire.
Yeah, but
it's not married.
Susan Silverman
not
did
his wife.
Not,
well, I know it's not his wife. But
but she would only kind of help him in the afterglow, understanding the mentality of the people they were either looking for or trying to stop.
No,
she was Jewish. Big point made of that.
It's CJ, Matt Houston's secretary / love interest at the end. That was close.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's a lot of love interest. There's a lot of moonlighting, but they weren't cops. They were private investigators.
Private dicks.
Yeah.
They didn't get along behind the scenes, though.
No.
That show was a sensation, if you'll recall.
Never watched it. Never saw 1 second of Moonlighting.
It's on streaming, and you won't be impressed.
Okay.
No.
It really feels itself right away. Like right first scene, first show. They're like, this is going to be like a cute hit. It's almost designed for the late 80s, like cute hit.
For the amount of popularity it had, it's not nearly as good.
No, it's not a good show. It's just, it's almost like it insisted that it was going to be something, and then it just like made it.
Was the whole show the vibe of the show?
Yes, entirely.
Exactly right.
Like it's pithy dialogue right away, and no one knows who Bruce Willis is, but he comes in like a star.
Yeah.
It's almost like he did something to enough people where they went, all right, this guy's going to be a star. Like, go make him a star.
Like
and
Steve Guttenberg.
Like, the Goot rollerbladed in the beginning of Can't Stop the Music. Or roller skated.
Moonlighting not only doesn't it stand up now, it didn't stand up like 5 weeks after it started.
Yeah. And then they couldn't get episodes out because they were fighting
They
and
had
everything.
like major guest stars on it too. It's just weird. The whole thing, looking back on it, very
Theme's
strange.
tight though. Al Jarreau.
Is this? Do you remember when Al Jarreau's then I'm gonna walk in the garden? It was a video in the early days of MTV when they didn't. We've talked about this. They didn't have videos to play, and they played this Al Jarreau video that did not fit with anything else. Oh, what was the name of the song?
Well, I know who Al Jarreau is, so they must have played it on MTV because I wouldn't have known who he is if not for MTV. Go ahead.
All I can remember is the making of We Are the World. Now that I hear Al Jarreau and how bombed Al Jarreau was, they were scared he wasn't going to be able to sing and do his part because he was so wasted.
Why wouldn't everyone have been wasted there? They just got out of a award show and an after party of an award show.
Yeah.
And it's the 80s. I mean, you coked up enough to get through it, but I mean, Al Jarreau must have not done cocaine. Because I take it everyone in there was drunk and on coke.
He was like 2-fisting bottles of wine that night.
Again, I'm not going to fault these people.
No, but the fact that he didn't show up wasted and then got wasted while he was there is the story
well,
to me.
Listen, man. This is not good.
This was on MTV a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Okay, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. It's a very Juilliard, New York, 80s fame ballet sitch.
Yeah.
All right, look, we will talk about basketball. I swear to God we will. If you're listening from out of market, but you're a Boston fan, you're probably so pissed at us. Because you're like, what the hell is this crap? Like, why aren't they? Like, I'm tuning in to hear about the Celtics, and I'm tuning into Boston, and they're not talking about it. I can only imagine the frustration.
I've gotten multiple emails about people upset about our Pope segment because we took time away from this. You believe that?
We had a guy in the Vatican City.
I know.
What
It
are you
makes
gonna
all
do?
the sense in the world.
What are you going to do? All right, look, we'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening.
Holiday, three. Good night. Jalen forces it up over Simmons. Somebody tied it.
WBZFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The New York Knicks ripped off a 21-2 run in the fourth quarter to erase a 16-point deficit. They beat the Celtics again at TD Garden last night, 91-90. The Green had the ball last, but Jason Tatum couldn't get a shot off as time expired. And now Jaylen Brown's team trails 2-0 in this best-of-7 playoff series after back-to-back losses at home.
It's an opportunity to show what we're made of. Obviously, we wouldn't like to be in this position, but we're here now, so we got to respond.
Jalen Brunson's 2 free throws with 12.1 seconds left with the difference. The Celtics missed 30 more threes. Game 3 is Saturday afternoon at Madison Square Garden. In other Celtics news, Drew Holiday was voted the winner of the NBA's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Trophy for being the league's social justice champion. Out west, Oklahoma City and Denver are even at a game apiece. The Thunder erased the Nuggets last night, 149-106. Golden State will be without Steph Curry for at least a week. He's got a grade 1 strain of his hamstring. He's expected to miss at least 3 games. Wilyer Abreu hit a pair of homers. Alex Bregman added career homer number 200 last night. Red Sox beat Texas 6-4 at Fenway Park. 2 teams will go again at Fenway this afternoon. The Utah hockey team has been renamed the Utah Mammoth. And the New England Revolution beat Rhode Island FC last night 2-1. They are through to the round of 16 of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Albrecht Auto Group, Zoe's Auto Dealer. Get respected Albrecht. Now 8 locations, including the all-new Subaru of Wakefield. Thousands of new and pre-owned vehicles, all at the right price at albrechtauto.com. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
Some people play the game.
Jaylen Brown. Blocked by Horford.
Some talk about
Let's welcome to the Sports Hub Celtics show, by the way. Jim Murray, Chris Gasper.
The Sports Hub Celtics show with Murray and Gasper. Saturdays at noon on the Sports Hub.
It's called rising and grinding.
Start your
Got
day.
your finger on the pulse, Fred.
Begin your
Seldom right and never wrong.
right here. Is that Dutcher or is that Hardy?
I know, looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
No timeout. Holiday's got it. 12 seconds to go. Back to Tatum. Cross half court. Tatum behind the Horford screen. Tatum, 5 seconds. Tatum at the free throw line. Tatum falling away in a baseline. His pass blocked by Bridges, and the Knicks have done it again.
Skills.
We're Dutcher and Hardy. You can watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub. An email from Peter that I got yesterday. I did listen. I was in the steam room for 10 minutes of the game, and I was listening to it on my headphones during that. And this says, after the game, all Grandy could do was say the bandwagon fans will disappear. Joe Mazzulla, the winningest coach in NBA regular season and playoffs, will have to answer more questions, and Tatum will get ripped apart by the radio and by fans. Well, Tatum's going to get ripped today because he didn't play well. It's reporting a fact. Like, Tatum didn't play well. I mean, what does he want people to do?
Dribbling into traffic, that last shot, when you juxtapose him with what Jalen Brunson's able to do.
Well, he had the yips last night. I mean, he wouldn't deny it. I mean, he had the yips. I mean, I'm not going to say he's a bad player. He didn't play well last night. I mean,
how many missed layups? How many missed open threes? I mean, the man shot 5 of 19 from the field, but it wasn't a 5 for 19 game of looks. He had open shots that he missed.
Well, I'll give you an example. Is that, everyone knew he had a bad first half. And then he came out to start the second half, and he missed a wide open layup. I mean, he had the yips. He had the yips last night. Now, do I give him the ball still with the game? Yeah. I want the ball going through Tatum. I'm not going to argue about that. That would be silly. Based on one game's performance, I'm not going to say, take the ball out of your best player's hands.
I would at least want the ball to go through him.
Right.
But he doesn't
have to take the shot.
No,
right.
He doesn't have to hold on to the ball and just wait like he did at the end of.
He screwed up. But what I'm saying is, no, he obviously screwed up. That's a fact. But I'm not going to kill Mazzulla for I might kill him for not taking a timeout. But I'm not going to kill him for having the ball go through Tatum. I mean, you have to have the ball go through. Everyone that would be like if the Knicks don't have the ball go through Brunson. Brunson's their best player.
How about call a timeout? And then,
I understand.
And then let the ball go through Tatum.
I'm not sure if I've ever heard him say anything bad about the Celtics. See, Grandy calls great play-by-play, but that's where I can't take it. Is this us against them mentality? But he's talking to his own audience.
Okay, do you want to hear we only heard a portion of the final call of the game.
Yeah, let me hear it because I didn't hear it.
Okay, so this is I'm gonna skip ahead so we don't get the full play-by-play of the last shot going off, but here it is.
And the New York Knicks, written off as a championship contender midway through this season.
That's true.
Have just recorded 3 extraordinary victories on the road.
True.
To put themselves up 2-0 in the Eastern Conference semifinals.
It's all true.
Right. And so far, it's just kind of giving credit to.
And he's excited, as he should be. Like, he's not, It sucks when Homer announcers, it's not the clinching game, but he's giving it the gravitas that it deserves.
Right.
He's talking in excited tone. He's not depressed.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
I haven't heard the rest of this clip either, so we'll see.
All right,
we'll
so
see
here
what
we
he
go.
does.
Back-to-back 20-point comeback wins. And the most stunning postseason round in NBA history continues.
Yeah.
With the road team winning all 6 games.
It's true.
Yeah, all
true.
All fair so far.
The final score, New York 91, Boston 90. And for the Celtics to keep their title defense alive, the greatest road team in NBA history is going to have to make some magic.
Well, that's true.
In an extraordinarily hostile environment on the road.
Okay, I don't have a problem with anything that you said.
Yeah.
But so maybe he did go on.
I would have preferred that he throw in the phrase, another epic meltdown. That would have been good.
No, it is.
I can't get over how crazy the Celtics got in the second half of both of those games. The Knicks were calm. They didn't veer from what they were doing before. They played the same level all the way through. Celtics were better than they were at times, but the Knicks just kept playing.
Well,
the Celtics panicked.
Yeah,
How is that possible for this team?
If you don't know the fourth quarter, the 2 statistics that stand out, if you're just getting up and you didn't hear this last night, the Celtics missed 13 shots in a row in the fourth, allowing the Knicks to go on a 21-2 run, which is, without hyperbole, extraordinary because you're in a situation where you literally just have to make a basket. If during that run you make 1 or 2 more baskets, you stem the tide. You don't even have to stop them.
Yeah.
All you have to do is get 2 points. I'm simplifying it, and it sounds remedial, but it's absolutely true.
They made one basket in the final 8 minutes and 40 seconds.
Even the most intense esoteric of NBA precision broadcasters, when you lay it out in the macro, you had a fourth quarter where you really just had to make another basket. You just had to make really one basket in those 13 shots, which is, so if you put it in, the reason I'm putting it in this way is that if you try to conceptualize it, it's almost impossible that they didn't do that. And it's not like the Knicks, because no team in the history of basketball, in an NBA game, has just been so stifling defensively. You didn't get any open shots.
I was just going to say that. How many of those 13 shots were layups that they missed? How many of those shots were not just open threes, wide open threes? There was one sequence in that game where the Celtics had 4 chances at it.
The Knicks couldn't rebound.
Down offensive rebounds, and they still can't score.
And that's another thing is the Knicks couldn't rebound. I mean, Thibodeau talked about it after the game. It's they couldn't rebound in that game. They were terrible. I mean, second chances, third chances, offensive rebounds. The Celtics were I go look at the statistics now, but I mean, they seem
Celtics had 16 offensive rebounds last night.
So there you go. So the Knicks had 10. There was a big discrepancy with offensive rebounds. They were getting a bunch of second, third chances, and they couldn't. It's almost impossible that they did not win that game.
To your point, Fred, you make one basket down that stretch there. It's 84-68 after Pritchard hits that three-pointer. Mm-hmm. And it's not like the Knicks were out of their minds offensively either.
No, they shot 43% from the field. The Knicks were not good.
Even on that run, in the midst of that run. I mean, in the midst of that run, that's when Mitchell Robinson barely grazed the bottom of the net with a free throw. So they're losing momentum. Anunoby, he misses a two-pointer. Then Pritchard misses. Mikal Bridges is the one guy who kind of stepped up and kind of kept their hopes alive.
Josh Hart, when they were down, when the Knicks were down big in the third quarter, Josh Hart started making threes, and he kind of handed the baton to Bridges in the fourth quarter. He got hot, and then you have Brunson to close it.
Well, in those Hart threes are interesting because even in the moment, you could tell that the crowd knew that those threes meant something. Is that even when you're up 20 and a guy hits a three, say to make it a 17-point lead, you even knew in the moment, wow, that's kind of a big three. Because, again, you're down to such a small margin of error for the Knicks, conceivably, that you would have to, at a certain point when you're down 20 in the fourth, you got to start making threes. Right? But they didn't even have to. They kind of could just be, they could make free throws, and they weren't great even from the free throw line. Oh, they were okay. They only had 10 free throws in the game. But you were in a situation where they weren't red hot from three either. They came back from 20 because of your own ineptitude offensively.
On offense, you look at the Celtics' defensive effort. It's there.
Oh,
it's not bad. It's not like Oklahoma City scored 149 points last
Denver
night.
gave up.
Celtics have played well defensively in these first two games. That's the mystifying thing. They can't get out of their own way on offense for long stretches of time. I believe these last two games, by percentage, are the worst two shooting games they've had all season.
And it wasn't
it's
just
not
threes.
because of the Knick defense.
And it's also not because they're just missing threes. And that's a big story. Look, they've missed a ton of threes. But they're missing everything. They were in a situation where they just had to tread water, barely tread water. Yeah. Just get your nose above the water line for a fraction of a second. I'm talking about making a basket, not stopping them defensively.
I know.
Making a basket.
They are better than this team, even without Porzingis, and they're down 2-0. It seems odd to say, but if you've watched these two games, the Celtics playing at their best are far better than the top level the Knicks can reach, and they're down 2-0. It's unfathomable to me.
Well, it's just
that
at
this
the end
team is struggling like this.
At the end of the game, the Knicks' athleticism. They just seem like at the end of games like a more athletic team. That's the thing, is that you are vastly superior to them, skill wise, depth wise, but they just are a tall, athletic team. They made themselves tall and athletic, and everything that all the moves they made are paying off in this series because you're allowing them to, because you're so inept on offense. And part of it's the insistence on threes, but they were missing everything.
They were missing everything.
And if you have a wide open three, you got to take a three in the NBA. Let's not throw it away. If you're moving the ball movement, and you have a wide open three, everyone on that court for the Celtics should be able to make a wide open three.
Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, the one thing, it's not an excuse, and it's not to take away because the shooting is horrible and you're missing layups that weren't all that contested. But the notion that instead of taking the three, you just get into the paint, you drive to the hole, and you get a foul in the process, and you go to the free throw line. These refs have swallowed the whistles for two straight games now.
They give you a huge break swallowing the whistle. Brunson got fouled on a three-pointer.
Oh, absolutely.
And they gave you a huge break on that, and you couldn't take advantage.
When you're trying to argue against taking all these threes, all you got to do is go to the hole. Well, A, if you're missing layups in the first place, and B, a contested layup isn't necessarily going to result in a trip to the free throw line, then that doesn't solve it either. You got to make shots. You have to make shots, and I will say for Missoula, you got to call a timeout and call a play on that final play. Those are the two things.
Or call a timeout during that run, and
either or would have been fine.
Look, Missoula can watch that film, and he could point. If you're sitting watching film with Missoula, he can just simply show you open threes that they missed and said, "Look, the one thing I'll challenge Missoula on two things he said after the game." A, not calling a timeout, and here's why. Because he explained that the reason that he didn't call the timeout is because he ran the same play as Tatum's dunk that preceded the Knicks' possession, where they got the free throws. And I contend, looking back even still, that in real time they let him score. That the Knicks said, because I was talking, the only reason I know is talking to my son. I'm like, do you foul here? There's 24.5 seconds left. You're up 1. There is an argument to be made that you foul, then you get, worst case scenario, you get a 1-point deficit with the ball in basically a full shot clock. You can call could you call a timeout? I don't know. It doesn't matter. You get the ball with a full shot clock, then you have a chance to win the game. The ball's in your hands. You let the clock run down, but then they can foul you, and what happened. But I contend that Tatum's in the open court, and they kind of just went okay. That like it was just like an Olay situation. There was a play run, but the idea that you could do that 2 times in a row,
ridiculous,
seems like a fool's errand. It seems like that if you did call a timeout, you had that luxury, and you were able to set up that it would be a much higher percentage than the situation that you put yourself in. Because Tatum downhill, that he's just going to have to get a screen and make one move and then get a free path to the basket seemed a little, especially off a make, right? Like off a made free throw. The Knicks have all the time in the world to get back.
And they had subbed it. It wasn't that there were different.
Yes, they were able to sub. They were
Yes.
able to sub. They were sub out Towns for Robinson
on the Brunson free throws.
On the Brunson free throws. So they were able to sub anyway. So because the argument could have been, you're right, that if I call a timeout, it's like if he would have missed the free throw and I call a timeout, then they can make defensive
substitutions. It would have been much
substitutions.
different if it was a live ball situation where a guy just missed a shot and got the rebound and went.
But
Much
he was
different.
able after the first make to make the defensive substitution, and then there's really no reason not to call a timeout there. In fact, I don't know. Well, his reasoning was he was going to do the same thing as the preceding offensive possession. And to that, I would say, I think they let you kind of score. Because what's it to me if you score there, then I get the ball back, and what happened.
By the way, on that last trip to the free throw line for Brunson, Drew Holiday was wrapping him up well before the shot, trying to get the foul called, and they weren't calling, they weren't blowing the whistle. And it's a good thing that shot didn't go down, because then you would have had practically no chance at the end.
Okay, so that leads to my point, because fouling Brunson on that possession is the same strategy as fouling the Celtics on the previous possession. You want the ball with a chance to win in ample time. So fouling Brunson there, you get the ball back with 14 seconds on the clock?
There,
13, 14.
Yeah.
Let's not split hairs, but plenty of time. They had plenty of time. So that's the
18
thing.
seconds.
18 seconds. So even more.
Point is one possession.
One possession.
One possession. Either way.
And I question why you don't call timeout there.
I just can't understand how Jason Tatum winds up on the left baseline, guarded by 2 people looking to pass at the end of the game.
Because they looked to have him get a clear path to the basket. They were able to get back after the made free throw, and that wasn't going to happen again, and he got pushed out.
If you are a top 5 player in the NBA, you don't allow yourself to get pinned on the baseline, regardless of what play is called. Regardless of what play is called.
There's no play.
There was a play.
If you have to improvise, great. I would have rathered a fall away from the elbow or a 3 from the top than where he wound up.
Well, you saw Halliburton do it. You saw Brunson do it against the Pistons.
Exactly. That's the problem. You saw guys do this in the 48 hours leading up to this game.
You've seen in this playoff run, which Grandy's right, is unprecedented. I mean, this is crazy what's been going on.
Yeah.
I mean, you have these 2 dominant teams that both have lost both their home games. And you're right. You saw Halliburton in one of those games, and then you saw Brunson against the Pistons do the same thing.
And even against the Celtics, he finds his way to the line. He gets a good opportunity, regardless of whether or not you call that foul on Drew Holiday.
You got to figure that you got to draw a foul there at least.
He finds a way to get his shot off and get a good look, and if he doesn't make it, he winds up at the foul line. That's what great players do in this situation. And now, here's an opportunity for Jason Tatum. Tatum did not look good in these first 2 games, especially last night. Now he goes into New York. He has to face Brunson on his own home floor, and let's see if he can get this done.
Well, if you're a star player, you got to get it done. I mean, the debate about Jason Tatum is not a debate if he plays like this for the rest of the series and they lose. I mean, then there's no debate. I mean, he's not He's a great player who played in the playoffs his worst basketball, and they lost a series. Well, you're not Steph Curry and you're not LeBron James then. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to be the new face of the NBA, it's inarguable. If you play this poorly, and you lose a series, then you're not. I mean, that's great players shine in great moments. That's why they're great players.
Real quick, here's some numbers from the Boston Herald.
We got Max, too.
Okay,
let's break and get to Max. All right, well, we'll get those numbers right before we get to Max, so we'll be right back.
that's what it came down to. Our defense, I thought, was great. We had physicality, we had energy on defense. Our offense let us down.
Johnny, before we get to Max, very quickly, you have some statistics.
Yeah, Boston Herald numbers. Celtics are 2-16 all-time in best-of-7 series after being down 2-0. The only 2 wins that Isaiah Thomas' 2017 team, first round against Chicago, that team, they won 4 straight to win in 6 games, and Bill Russell's last game, 69 finals against the Lakers.
Oh.
NBA-wide, teams up 2-0 in a best-of-7 have gone on to win 92% of series.
And that factors in the 2020 season, which should not be factored in. All right, Cedric Maxwell is the Celtics color analyst on the 98.5 The Sports Hub Celtics Radio Network. Boston Celtics playoff coverage on 98.5 The Sports Hub is presented by Charles D. Sheehy.
Yes.
For over 70 years, Charles D. Sheehy has been your local leader for pipes, valves, and fittings. CDS can offer you the solutions needed to keep your project moving. They're partners with the Celtics and 98.5 The Sports Hub. Good people. Cedric Maxwell, thank you for joining us, sir.
All right. Thank you for having me on. The first, I start out by saying my brother-in-law, Dane Sparrow, said the Celtics suck right now. So I've been arguing with people back and forth all day, and my phone blew up from the beginning of last night as soon as the game ended until this morning. But I'm prepared right now. I even went out and got stats like Johnny Wallach.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Well, Celtic or Knicks fans can be very, very annoying. There's no question.
Oh my God. They were, I thought I hated Laker fans, but they have nothing over Knicks fans. Knicks fans were chanting, dude, let it happen first before you start going off the deep end. You know, you hear that with the Yankees, but the Knicks have been so bad during the times that I played that I didn't get a firsthand experience of this true Knick culture. Now, John Wallach, here's one of those questions I'll pose to you.
Okay.
Kevin McHale is one of the greatest post-up players of all time, right?
Yep.
How many points do you think he averaged in 1981?
Well, the way you're setting
in the championship series against Houston Rockets.
The way you're setting this up, I'm thinking not a lot. Say 12, 13?
Try 4, John Wallach.
Okay.
4.
And how many did you average in the 81?
That would be 7, nearly 18.
All right, and you were the MVP of that.
And my point would be the fact that the others sometimes have to step up. Larry Bird wasn't particularly good in that series, and again, I don't hate Larry for some of these yahoos. You're jealous of Larry. No, I'm not. Larry's one of my best teammates. But let me give you facts. Larry Bird shot 41% from the field that year. Now, what he did, like Jason Tatum did last night, Larry Bird averaged 15 rebounds a game during that particular series. Tatum rebounded his behind off last night, but the others have to step up. Jaylen Brown started to step up in that game, but what negated that? 6 turnovers in the game. Mm-hmm. So I'm just throwing these facts out, John Wallach, before you start throwing all these other facts out.
Okay. All right. So you're making the argument that as bad as Tatum played, that great teams have to pick up the slack if their star player is off, and that it has happened in the past.
Oh, man, you're reading my book right now. Thank you. That's why I knew you're the best in the business.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people say.
Well,
there's no question. My ability to see in the margins, to cut through the crap.
That's any man who's had an ex-wife, we see between the margins.
Well, you got to keep referring to the same document over and over again, twice a month.
True about that.
I always forget, and there's math that needs to be done because there's expensives that come out of it, but there is that is the case. All right, so let's start with the end of the game. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's start with the second to the last Celtics possession. Tatum
you know
gets.
What? Let's not start there.
Okay.
Let's start when everything started to go to the poop house. Okay.
Okay.
Let's start when we start talking about Josh Hart had 23 or 21 points in that game.
23.
Josh Hart, they let him take shots and he dominated in the paint. OG Anunoby didn't play well. They got production from Cat, and then you look at what happened. Al Horford went 0 for 5, and I think Tatum was whatever he was. And between the two of them, they made 1 3-pointer. You had a bunch of threes. And then the flow of that game, here's one of the critical things that people won't talk about. We'll get to the end. But in the flow of that game, Peyton Pritchard, who's been so good this year, took some crazy half-court shot for no reason. It's like you're talking about momentum breakers. Those were things that happened in the game that the Celtics needed to adjust to, and they didn't do it.
Well, they got tight, right? Like, I mean, as a former player, it just seemed as a team they started pressing on offense. I mean, you don't go 0 for 13. In a 21-2 run, which the Knicks had, I mean, all you have to do, Cedric, I mean, and it sounds simple, but all you have to do is, like, get a basket, right? Like, you don't even have to stop them. You just have to get a basket. So to go 0 for 13 is almost
it's
like
really hard to do.
It's like hard to do.
It would have been as if Stevie Wonder was shooting out there.
Right.
I think he would have made 1 or 2. He would have knocked something down. But it was just, it was unbelievable to sit there and watch it over and over again. Some great shooters. Derek White was wide open. Tatum had a shot in the corner. Nobody was near him. He missed it. Al Horford had a shot. Everybody had to look at it. Brown came off. He had a shot wide open from the 3-point line. So everything that could go wrong did go wrong for the Celtics. And you still build a 20-point lead. That's why I'm excited about the possibility of them going down to Madison Square Garden and shedding everybody up and shedding John Wallach's stats and tell him to shove those stats where the sun doesn't shine.
Nice.
Yeah,
I would like that.
I didn't say they couldn't win, Max. I said the odds were against them.
I didn't say you said, John, did I say they couldn't win? I didn't say you said that.
Okay.
I said take those stats and do what?
Shove them.
Thank you.
Put him in his rectum.
That's right.
Right. If there's room,
Do you think?
Lord knows what he's putting up there.
Well, I do want to get to the end of the game, but
go ahead, John. John,
related to that,
real quick, we were talking about how many open shots they missed, Max. Do you think there's something to the yips? Do you think that they are pressing? Do you think this is a team-wide, oh, my God, we've missed all these threes, I shouldn't take another one? Does that creep into your psyche in a game like that?
I think early in the game it did. I think that one of the first plays of the game, Jason Tatum was at the 3-point line. It was early in the game, and he was wide open from the top of the key, and he didn't take the shot, and he threw it to Drew Holiday. Drew was
and
so
he didn't know.
shocked
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, wait, what are you doing?
Right.
So there were times when you saw a team that was, they had the nerves were going. The best thing about getting away from Boston, the nerves don't go. And here's the best thing about the series right now. Nobody is saying you're going to win it. So you have no pressure. All the pressure right now is on the New York Knicks. If you're the Boston Celtics, this is what you say. You're still the defending champs. And you go out and you play like the champs, and I think everything will be okay.
Okay. Last basket that the Celtics made last night was the Jason Tatum end-to-end dunk at the end. Do you think the Knicks in any way allowed him, once they saw him going downhill and had a shot at the basket, they just kind of let him through?
No, they didn't let him through. I think it was a great play set up by Joe Mazzulla, a top pick, and then you had Tatum on the run. And that's one of the things that didn't happen. In that last play, Tatum was trying to beat his man, then trying to beat another man, and nobody was involved in that play. And you were basically saying, Jason Tatum, go win the game for us, when you have to involve the others. And I think you would have a better opportunity if you'd move the basketball around, attacked in the paint, and then kick it out to a three-point shooter if that's what you wanted to do. He went from right, I think he went from left to right, and then went back to his left, to his weakest hand, going away from the rim. Almost impossible shot to get off.
Well, that was the final play, and my next question, Max, was going to be, number one, Mazzulla not calling the timeout. I want to get your thoughts on that. But Mazzulla said in the postgame it had worked the play before when Tatum kept the ball and went in for the dunk, so they were just going to try that again. Do you think that was foolish?
I think sometimes what happens is that if you're the Celtics at the end of the game, and you have another team, the Knicks score, and you say they don't call a timeout, sometimes you don't call a timeout because you don't allow the opposition to bring in other personnel who might be better defensively. So you were playing the odds that you could attack a guy like Brunson. One thing they didn't do to me, they didn't attack Brunson enough in that game.
Well, they did, but Max, they did. Thibodeau was able to make a defensive switch after the first free throw. So, so he was able to bring Robinson in for Towns. He kept Brunson on the court. I mean, he had an opportunity to take him out. So, I mean, he did make a substitution there.
Yeah, you're right. I stand corrected. He did make a substitution, but sometimes when you're going on the fly, you just want to go and attack a team.
Okay.
And you don't want them to set up any other things defensively. They start looking at plays. They start going over things. Now is, can you execute enough to get a good shot off?
But how about the notion that they were just going to run the same play that had worked on the play before?
Well, they couldn't run the same play because the same play last time was from pretty much out of bounds, inbounding the ball and getting Tatum on the fly, coming towards the rim. So that wasn't the one that was going to work. I think, again, I look at the play. I did not like the play because you didn't involve other people in the pick and roll situation. That's what I didn't like. There were several times when the Celtics had an opportunity. The one coaching thing I'd ask Joe Mazzulla would be this. You fouled Robinson at one point in that game. And then you had another time to foul him while they were in the penalty, and you didn't. And Josh Hart knocked down a three. There were several things that, from everybody's standpoint, that you had to look and you had to really question what went on in that game. And again, you had to, this is what is crazy about it. You had to really play, you really had to really be bad to let the Knicks get back in that game the way you were playing. You played very smart, and then all of a sudden your thinking cap wasn't on anymore.
Right. And so Porzingis made the point that you did after the game. He thinks that going back to New York, you already said this, the pressures on the Knicks as a guy who's played in the playoffs, that's a real thing. Like that crowd and everything that can have the adverse effect, the reverse effect.
They've been let down so much. It is like an ex-husband. You like when John. Remember, this would be between the gentleman and I. He'll say, "Remember when you used to ask your wife, hey babe, am I gonna get lucky tonight when things are really going bad in your life?" And she's like, "Good luck with that one." Yeah. So I think that's what you look at the Knicks. The Knicks have been shunned so many times in Madison Square Garden. If you can get them on their back, on their hind legs, I think that you can get an opportunity to go down there and steal a couple of games, not one, a couple of games. Again, no pressures on you because the national narrative all day is going to be this. The Boston Celtics did what they did. They sucked. They were horrible. Like Dane Sparrow said, they were absolutely horrible. I'm telling you right now, he called me at 7:30 this morning. They suck. I'm telling you, they suck. I'm like, Jesus, you Bostonians. Let the game play. They'll be okay, and let's see what happens in the next game. Or this. I'm 2 games away from being on vacation.
Right.
There you go.
But then you can turn the phone off.
Somewhere tropical.
Absolutely. And Sean Grandy said, look, I know you and I have been getting interviews all week about stuff. I said, no, I haven't. He said, what? I said, because I turned my phone off. I don't, but your interviews, only interviews I do is your interview. But I am going on with Dan Patrick at 10 o'clock today. Oh. And, he has this thing where, he gets on me a lot of times about almost if I'm jealous of Larry Bird. So I got these stats that I'm going to throw at him just like I did to you guys today.
Is he paying you?
We'll get him.
Paying me no mind. How about that?
All right. Yeah. I mean, because I don't even know how you consume the Dan Patrick show anymore. So you come back at him and go, I'm more relevant than you son of a bitch. What do you think you're doing?
Yeah.
Who are you talking to?
It is, this is a wonderful time of the year. Everybody is calling. The Mad Dog show is called. Everybody's calling. And when you're starting to go downhill, like the Titanic, when you're starting to do that, the Hindenburg, people are going to call you and they want my opinion just because they're like, oh my God, what is going to happen? Just get out and play the game. I've been down before in many situations. Get out and play. Just play the game and let everything fall where it be.
Well, I'll tell you, there's the Knicks fans are cicadas. They hibernate and then they come out and they're so annoying. And everyone in national media is a Knicks fan, and it's always aggravating, even if the Celtics aren't involved.
But here's the thing about it: they deserved it. They deserved the gloat last night. Over the last 2 games, the Knicks fans, when you hear Stephen A. Smith holler at your boy, I'm like, Jesus Christ, what is going on?
You're not on the team. Relax.
So they're on the bandwagon. They're on the bandwagon now, but we've seen that bandwagon get destroyed so many times, especially when it comes to NBA basketball.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, I don't know if it's possible for the Celtics to play as poorly as they did in the fourth quarter again.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about it. I mean, it's almost inconceivable that you can't make a basket. One basket.
Yeah.
You just stem the tide. You don't have to stop them.
With the talent out there, it's inexcusable.
Yeah, you don't even have to stop them. Let them score, but you just need one basket at that point.
You are right. And the thing about it, you had so many open looks.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part about it. You had open look after open looks. You couldn't knock them down. Deuce McBride knocking them down. Josh Hart, who's not a three-point shooter, knocking it down. Probably the biggest thing that happened was I think you see all those other guys who hadn't scored for him start to come to life and start to gain confidence in that game. So I think that's one of the problems you looked at that game. But look, that's why they play the game, and that's why you're going down to New York. You're down 0-2, and you're gonna. This is the time to have the big ones right now. You got to check your underwear just to see if you got them down. That's what the Celtics need to do.
All right. Well, Cedric, it's certainly inspiring. Thank you so much. Great job last night, and have fun with the Dan Patrick Show.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. And like I said, John, take those stats right now. Never mind.
We'll do, Max.
He's already done it. And by the way, he's
that's why I was quiet the last 5 minutes.
He's got a bunch of lube over there. You'd think that he wouldn't be so prepared.
Open up the saddlebags, John.
We'll do, Max, just for you.
All right.
Thank you, Max. We appreciate it. There you go. The great Cedric Maxwell. We are running late. We'll be right back.
Sports Hub app for loads of stuff. Absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps. Or at 985sportshub.com.
Is elongating.
Weekday morning.
Here goes Hardy.
Dutcher and Hardy.
I no longer love things.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Like, let's roll the dice. Foundation.
Is that Jalen Brown's?
Yes,
Yeah.
Jalen Brown's Foundation. Thank you to Pin Golf, Yale Appliance, Northern Spy Restaurant, Alamo Draft House Theater, Woods Hill, Pier 4 Restaurant, Brico Restaurante, the Boston Red Sox, the New England Revolution, and the Brook Meadow Country Club.
So Boss is going to be there, huh?
Well, he's always there.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen is the three of us are playing together, and then someone's going to bid to play with us.
Is that confirmed? Is that happening?
That is happening. Rick has called me.
Great.
And gotten my permission to have that happen. He was kind enough to ask my permission.
He didn't ask Hardy's permission?
He knows Hardy didn't
He asked
care.
me about it a long time ago.
He didn't care about John's permission.
No. I did not have a vote.
And which is odd because
No.
I've been told this was told to me. It was not my doing. I didn't say anything. You will be riding with the person. So Hardy and I are riding together. I'm sure you don't care, but I guess that's
fine.
That's the way it was proposed to me. It doesn't matter to me either. But there we go.
I got to keep Fred engaged. I got to keep him thinking about the next shot, because otherwise he's on his phone. He's like, I don't know if I want to. Shush! Now we got an approach shot coming up here. We're going to be inside 100 yards, so it's probably going to be a 3/4 something. What do you feel comfortable hitting here? I got to keep him talking about the game, not about the other crap that you got swirling around in that feeble brain of yours. Focus.
I usually have an attaché with me to keep me focused, but Hardy will serve that role on the golf course. I did go to the driving range. I hit golf clubs, and then what I found myself doing is hitting a 60-degree wedge, trying to get it in one of those baskets. Mm-hmm. That's how I occupied because my son wanted to go to the driving range, so I did. And then at my club, there's those little catch-all like baskets.
Oh yeah, those are fun.
Yeah, and so I was bored, so I started using my 60-degree wedge and trying to get it in there. 10 minutes. No.
Nary a one. How far away was the basket?
Probably 20 yards, 25 yards.
Oh boy.
Yeah, not good. Either over or under.
I mean, I like
I
like the fact that you're practicing with a purpose, as opposed to just banging balls mindlessly.
Well, they have those range balls that they aren't accurate depictions of how far it's going to go. So it was a distance issue from 20 yards away. That was the problem. No, that's why it's not as fun to get the driver out and really let it have it, because it's only the distance was 230 yards that you could go. This is a new thing at the club. They used to have real range balls, but now people
hit the freaking ball too far.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that if you hit a 300-yard drive, you're hitting into the 18th hole, and then or if you really get a hold of one, which I find it hard to believe you could. I guess conceivably you could get it onto the road. I mean, I don't know how that would happen. And if someone said, now on the 18th, I've hooked one into the road many a time.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
just a straight hook right into the road because
I imagine
you're not supposed to.
That's a rite of passage at your club. That's got to happen to everybody eventually.
I don't know, but it's happened to me. I've also on the long par 3 hit I've hit a 5-wood off of it because it's 210 yards, and I've just said screw it, I'm going to hit a light 5-wood.
It's a rite of passage.
And I've had the ball bounce up and then hit the tee, and then I've done it twice in a row.
Oh yeah, that's trick shot
during tournament play.
You know what? Your club came up yesterday in a conversation I was having with Dick Connolly, who was honored at the We Met Fund gala here back on Marathon Monday.
The Connolly We Mets.
No,
the We Met Connolly's probably.
No, the We Met Fund, of course, named after Francis We Met, whom we all know, right?
I already know when we met. Why has Francis got to tell me how we've met?
You tried that yesterday, and I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. But
it's just like your Parker Wotherspoon joke. What's the difference?
No, the Wotherspoon is grade A material.
I see.
But Dick Connolly used to caddy for, or caddied for on occasion in his later years, Francis Ouimet. Do you know where Francis Ouimet liked to play his golf? as he got done playing competitively?
Probably some massage parlor of some ill repute.
Yeah, Woodland.
Well,
He liked to play. He played at Woodland a lot.
One and the same. Well, I know part of my dues go to some stupid scholarship fund for people I don't know, so I got that going for me.
It's not stupid. It actually helps kids in need.
Yeah. Caddies, the most neediest of all people.
Anybody who worked at a golf course, if you're on the grounds crew, you can apply for a We Met scholarship.
Well, I don't know them, so it's just money out of my pocket. I get a nice little tax write-off, though, that $70 comes in the mail.
Yeah.
So they pay postage to all the members.
Make sure you pass that along to your accountant.
I do.
They'll say,
It's the only thing I can write off.
Great. What do you want me to do with it?
You can't write off child support. You can't write off your agent fees. I mean, you got to write off something. Look, the Celtics played last night. We're aware. I had to do that read. So now we will be back and back on the Celtics.
lost again to the Knicks last night at TD Garden, 91-90 in Game 2 of that second-round playoff series. Jalen Brunson made a pair of free throws with just over 12 seconds left to put the visitors ahead for good, and Jason Tatum couldn't get a shot off as time expired. Josh Hart scored 23 points for the winners. Jaylen Brown had 20 for the Celtics.
You definitely, it should sting. Let it sting. Let it sting for the night, and then tomorrow's a new day. You move forward. Short-term memory, going into a tough New York environment. We don't have time to dwell on the past. The next focus is Game 3, so let's do it.
They're now down 2-0 in this best of 7. Game 3 is Saturday afternoon at Madison Square Garden. Oklahoma City, meanwhile, ran over Denver in the late game, 149-106. That best of 7 even at a game apiece. Steph Curry is out at least a week for Golden State with a grade 1 strain of his hamstring. Red Sox beat Texas at Fenway Park yesterday, 6-4. Alex Bregman, a 2-run homer, career homer number 200 for him. He drove in 3 runs. The two teams will wrap up their 3-game series this afternoon. And the New England Revolution beat Rhode Island FC last night 2-1 to reach the round of 16 in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. They'll play Chicago Fire FC next. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning. 24-hour on-call service for your clog drain emergencies. Go to johnsewer.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
This is Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown turns the corner. Finger roll is up and good. Score to the foul.
Listen to home of the Boston Celtics, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Fred with Hardy and Wall.
What a golden ticket I've gotten.
There you have it. Toucher and Hardy resumes on the Sports.
This is about continuing to get better. No one else is worried about that?
It's not mine. I gave you carte blanche to do. You can do it, baby.
I appreciate
you play whatever you want. But I'm just going to tell you when it's not one night in Bangkok.
I appreciate that too.
It's not when it's not one night in Bangkok and it's trying to be. I'm not going to keep my trap shut. Well, anyway, the Celtics last night, of course, a crushing loss, an almost unfathomable loss. We talked to Cedric Maxwell, and he was very upbeat. He said that now the pressure is solely on the Knicks, which is probably true. And to be honest with you, the way Cedric talks about basketball is that it is a very emotional mental game. Like at the heart of it, it is an emotional mental game, as evidenced by last night. That was not a precision skill or coaching exercise. That was an exercise in intense. That was, you don't miss as a professional basketball player 13 shots, many of them open, based entirely on X's and O's. I mean, that was a mental game. And maybe Cedric is right. I mean, he would be more right than I, that maybe those Knicks fans that are going to go spend the next 48 hours going bananas and are going to show up to that place like it's Mardi Gras. Maybe that is when the reverse happens, and then the tension goes on to the Knicks. Because right now it looks like one team is just playing possum for 3 quarters until they're just waiting for you to screw up. And it was evidenced, you could hear it in the crowd last night, and John brought up Hart's 3-pointer. I think that was a 3-pointer that made it like a 17-point game.
Yes. That's exactly right. They were down 20. Hart made a wide-open 3. It's a 17-point game. The Knicks come down and make another 3, and it's a 14-point game. And I felt it. I wasn't there, but you could hear it on television, how the crowd got real quiet.
Yeah.
They're up 14 points, and the crowd got real quiet because they remembered what had happened the last game.
And it sounded ridiculous, but Reggie Miller, I think, even said that's a big 3. And you're thinking, like, well, that's ridiculous. Well, you're thinking logically that's ridiculous, but it wasn't. Because there's literally no lead that's safe. There was no point that you felt like, okay, and it didn't ever feel like the Celtics had complete control of that game.
See, that one last night, though, because the collapse in the third quarter happened later, I walked back in my own mind the notion that I would bet any team down 15 or more in an NBA game because they all have a chance to come back. And I didn't feel that was the case so much last night because it wasn't later until the third quarter.
I was surprised when they lost, don't get me wrong, but it didn't feel like that it was a foregone conclusion, even up 20 in the fourth.
I know I didn't feel that way. And last night, more to what you just said, Hardy, last night's loss is far worse than game one.
Yeah, it is.
Far worse.
Because there wasn't usually when, like last year in the playoffs, there were close games, but there are games where you're half paying attention at the second half. Like you're just like, you're look, they're going to win. Da, 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 da. Last night, I was in tune with the game. Because it's funny because I'm like recalling things. I'm like, I never remember this much out of NBA games, but it always seemed like they were on the verge. I still was very surprised.
Yeah, and they weren't. Look, if they were really up 20 in the fourth, I would have felt confident about it. The most they got up was 16 with the Pritchard 3 with 8:40 left to go. But at that point, I still felt pretty good.
Wait, they were never up 20 in the fourth?
Not in the fourth.
They were up 20. They were up 73-53 in the third, and they were up 16 with 8:40 to go in the fourth.
Okay, my bad. All right, so they were up 16.
Yeah, but
the Josh Hart 3 remains.
Yes, but they started missing open shots again.
Well,
they stopped taking even when they took the ball to the basket. You can give the Celtics credit for taking the ball to the basket early. I mean, there was a clear mandate from Missoula: stop taking threes, go to the basket, draw fouls. That was good, but then they started missing layups. And there was a sequence we talked about with Max where they had 2 or 3 offensive rebounds, missed a bunch of wide open shots. Tatum missed a wide open 3 from the corner. Horford missed a wide open 3 from the corner. And you're like, oh boy, here we go again. It was very easy to see that lead melt away after watching what the Celtics were doing to themselves again.
But Cedric mentioned it, and it was recalled during the game by the announcers. There was a play in the beginning of the game where Tatum was open for a 3, and he passed to Holiday, and Holiday like almost got hit in the face with the ball because he had no idea it was coming. So it was odd. And you could hear the crowd even when they took a 3 in the beginning of the game kind of like titter, like, woof, And the Knicks were... what we did, I mean, I think they had like 9 possessions in a row where they didn't get any points because they took the 3 off the board. So, I mean, the Knicks started ice cold as well.
The Knicks were scoreless for nearly the first 5 minutes of the game after they took the 3 off the board.
Yep.
And as I said before, the Celtics defense, the Knicks did have some good looks, but overall the Celtics defense was fine. It was just fine. And their lack of ability to score on the offensive end is baffling. And the thing is, I don't know what you do to fix it. They're getting good shots. They're getting to the basket. If you're Joe Mazzulla and you look at the tape, what do you change? Other timeout usage, all that, obviously. But if you're Joe Mazzulla, you can't change the offense. The offense is working fine. It's the guys executing it that are the problem.
Yeah, if you're Mazzulla and you're probably questioning why you didn't call timeout at the end of the game, because there really is no reason. The Knicks made the substitutions they want to make. Cedric came on and said, well, you don't call timeout because you can't make substitutions. Well, they did make the substitution. They didn't want to take Brunson off the floor. They kept him on the floor. But they did put Robinson in the game for Towns. So they were able to make the substitutions they wanted to make. And it's a made free throw. So you're not going to, if it's a missed free throw, then I even get it, because then you got him in transition. But a made free throw, you're taking it from under the basket. That they have time to get back on defense. I don't know why. Like, they have time to set up. So the whole argument that you don't want to give them a chance to set up is out the window, because they had time to set up, as evidenced by Tatum not being able to get to the basket.
Correct.
And what substitution pattern can you change if you're the Celtics? I mean, they weren't going to use Sam Hauser anyway in game 1 before he got hurt. He was kind of an afterthought there.
Well, the argument would be if he misses the free throw, that if they couldn't put Robinson in the game, then you wouldn't have called the timeout, because you would say they were a weaker team defensively. Yeah. But that's not an argument, because they made the substitution.
Yeah. It's not for any substitution that the Celtics want to make.
Right. It's not for anything the Celtics would want to make.
It's preventing the Knicks from making this.
And then that was not available anymore. So the point is this, is that if I'm Mazzulla and I'm looking at the tape, I'm probably going, I should have called timeout at the end of the game. Fine. Other than that, though, I mean, what am I going to do? I mean, I can't put the ball in the basket. Again, to go on a 21-2 run, in order to stem that tide, it doesn't take magic. You don't even have to stop the Knicks. At some point, you have to make a basket. That's all. That's all. As that Hart 3 made it 20-point lead to 17-point lead, or whatever it did, and you could sense that all you have to do to stop that run is make a basket. One basket.
Score once during that run that is not a free throw, and they only had a couple of those anyway. But let me add something to this, Reb, because we keep talking about the missed shots. Something that got brought up last night that I think is important, and it was Scaler brought it up. He's like, and Scal and or Eddie House, who said, it's not just the missed shots, it's the turnovers. And they pointed to one turnover in particular, and it was during that 20-point margin. It was after Porzingis made – did he make just the one three-pointer last night?
Yes, just the one.
Okay. So Anunoby turns the ball over at the other end. Tatum and Brown are pretty much on a breakaway, and they're going to play a little two-man game. Yeah. And Tatum tries to get the ball over to Brown, and he just misses it. He doesn't handle the pass, and it goes out of bounds. They were up 20 at that point with under 3 minutes to go in the third, and they could have pushed it to 22. Who knows? Maybe 23 if he gets fouled going to the rim. But instead, they turn the ball over, and that's where the tide changes. After that, now there were misses for both, but Derek White misses a three-pointer. Miles McBride dunks the ball. After that, Porzingis turns the ball over. Tatum with another bad pass. Mitchell Robinson stole the pass. Miles McBride makes a three-pointer. Jaylen Brown, lost ball turnover. Anunoby stole the ball. Another turnover here. Jaylen Brown misses a 30-point pull-up three-pointer. So it's turnovers and missed shots. Turning the ball over is what undid them as much as missing the shots.
Well, look, the Knicks turned the ball over 15 times. The Celtics turned the ball over 16 times. It was a comedy of errors. It's just,
As I said, the Celtics defense is fine.
Yeah, the Celtics defense. Well, yeah, the Knicks only scored 91 points. Yeah, it was fine.
Celtics defense is fine. They are missing wide open shots. I don't know how you change that. If you're a coaching staff, you want to strangle somebody. There's nothing the coaching
and that's
staff
the point.
can do.
You can point to the timeout, but other than that, I don't really know what you can do. You can just say make your shots.
There's no, and getting back to my Hauser point, there's no substitution pattern during the game that you can alter, other than Porzingis being healthy enough to play more. But again, that's not a coaching thing. I mean, Porzingis can only go as far as he can go. He went 14 minutes last night, and you could see it. He's not himself. And Sam Hauser's hurt. Maybe he could make some threes, but his ankle's going to keep him out. So there's no other guy on the bench you can look at and go, we have to bring this guy in.
No, because everybody's missing and everybody's turning the ball over. And I get you're going to take open shots, but when your turnovers almost equal your number of assists on the night, you turn the ball over 16 times, but you only manage to get 17 assists, well, that is a deadly combination. We're not making shots. We're also not looking – we're not looking for shots. If somebody is cold, no one else is looking. Everybody thinks they're going to shoot their way out of their slump. And also, we're going to turn the ball over a ton. That's just a horrible combination.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead. You're on the air. I don't know your name. Nick didn't put it in. He couldn't be bothered.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy.
Nick?
If you're on the phone, talk.
Nicholas?
Am I on?
Yeah.
I just wanted to correct something. So Brunson was shooting the free throw, so he couldn't have been subbed out at the end there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So Missouri didn't call timeout because Brunson was still on the floor.
Okay.
Is my guess.
All right. But, okay. Yeah. They made the substitution that they wanted to make, but yes, that's right. Brunson could have been subbed out because he was taking the free throw. You're out correct.
So they should have gone after Brunson at the final play.
Right. Do you think they should have called a timeout?
Probably. Still, yeah, but I see why he didn't.
Okay, so he didn't do it because Brunson was taking the free throw and they thought they could take advantage of him. All right. Yeah, I guess so.
Well, Brunson couldn't have been subbed out.
No, I know, but that's why they didn't call the timeout, is so that the Knicks couldn't sub out Brunson. Because if the Celtics call a timeout, then the Knicks can sub out Brunson. But the Knicks were able to get Karl Anthony Towns out of the game. So, pick your poison, I guess. But that is a good point. Thank you. That is a good point.
I wish we could name him for his point, but Nick didn't put it in.
No, Nick didn't bother.
Yeah.
He couldn't be bothered putting that in.
Nick!
No. He's busy back there. He's got a lot on his hands.
Do either of you feel confident that they could win this series?
Yes.
Max still does.
I think they could win the series. Yeah, of course they could. I think they have a better shot than Cleveland does.
A much better chance than Cleveland does. And
look, you win Saturday, and then everything shifts.
changes back. And the Celtics, I think, were 33-8 on the road this year.
Yeah.
And that 8th loss was a throwaway in Orlando at the end of the season.
And I don't care how you win Game 3. Like, people are going to say, like, you had to blow them out. I don't care how you do it.
Foul points do not matter.
Do not matter. But if you win in New York, then you're right back in things. The Knicks are better on the road than they are at home. You're better on the road than you are at home. I mean, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to win 2 games at Madison Square Garden.
I agree with you. I agree with you. As bad as they looked last night, and as bad as things look this morning, series isn't over.
No, it makes everything 1,000 times more difficult because, like, the rest of the playoffs are going to just be much more difficult now. It is. At least it's not last year. So, your path now, no matter what, no matter if you win this round, no matter who you play next round, no matter what, this series now sucks and is going to take a lot out of you.
Yeah.
So, good luck.
But
winning this series, yeah. Now, look, if they lose on Saturday, there's no way they're winning this series.
Okay, yeah. So,
if they win on Saturday, then why not? Then they should take 2 in New York, and why not?
I'll go a tiny bit more negative than you guys. Could they win the series? Of course. I don't think they will. They're down 0-2. You drop 2 games at home, and Porzingis is still dealing with something, and if you add to his limited availability or limited physicality, in addition to the fact that nobody's shooting the ball well right now, how can you legitimately feel that they're still going to win the series? Could and will are 2 different things. Could, yes. Do I think they will? No.
All you need is either Tatum or Brown to play up to what you've expected from them all year.
Yeah, you don't need them to shoot 30%. I mean, if they make a couple more threes in either one of these games and they win the first one in regulation and they win outright last night. So I get it. I understand the math is there, but there is something going on with a stubborn insistence on how they're deciding to play offense and a lack of focus when it comes to taking care of the basketball. Looking and taking open shots, sure, but if they don't go down, it's a pattern. 2 games, that's a pattern. You're going to break the pattern in New York at Madison Square Garden on Saturday night? Okay. If you think so, they could, yes. Do I think they will? No.
The odds are about even on FanDuel. -106 for the Celtics, -110 for the Knicks.
I don't know how this continues. They have so many open shots. You have to figure eventually the law of averages will kick in.
Well, when you're making the point that that it's not a coaching issue and it's not a defensive issue, then yeah, I mean, you would have to think they don't shoot like this again. I mean, it's like last night, especially, like that you're not going to go 0 for 13 again.
Yeah, they've missed 75 threes in the first 2 games. That's unprecedented.
Right.
I mean,
and again, you can't just stop taking them. You can stop taking. You don't take 60 again, which you took 40 last night. But you're not going to go under 40. I don't think again. All right. Look, we'll come back. We'll read some emails. We'll take your calls if you're on hold, and we'll be right back.
More.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, and the Celtics, of course, another brutal loss last night. Quincy, hello. I don't know who you are. Nick put Quincy. Is this not a man named Quincy?
Quincy.
Yeah, you got a great phone. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm on Chicago calling on here trying to figure out. You guys are too soft from the coach.
All right, I can't tell what you're saying. I don't know what's going on in Chicago.
Might be all bad.
That's the windy city, huh?
Hey.
No, I don't even want anything. Richard, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to state that I don't think that the Celtics and Joe have to give this thing up. They have a great team that works as a team, but they're not working as a team right now. They're working as individuals, and if they start working as a team and Joe starts to coach them as a team, they have a chance to win. And we've seen this before with this basic makeup of players. If they work together and get passing again, get ball movement, and take the ball inside rather than trying to shoot every shot outside, then the next defense has got to lighten up.
You see,
and so I just wanted to, because you guys seem to say that they're giving up. Joe, they're not going to make this series. They have a chance to.
Well,
they
who
need
said
to
that?
No.
We
all said the opposite.
Two out of the three feel at least
Look at
okay about
Vegas.
their chances to win the series.
Vegas has got it about even. And look, that's amazing considering the Knicks won 2 on the road to start the series, and Vegas has it about even. So no one. Let's not turn this into everyone's counting out the Celtics nonsense.
No,
it's nonsense.
The idea that they're not
making plans for Memorial Day. If we're gonna host a show, because we're assuming there will be a Eastern Conference Final game the night before. So let's relax on the whole notion that everyone's against the Celtics in some fashion. Let's put it this way: Indiana's a huge favorite in that Cleveland series, and it's about even. In the Cleveland, you can get for plus 164. Indiana's minus 198. I mean, let's be real. Cleveland's in more trouble than you are.
And more to the caller's point, they did have ball movement. They worked the ball around really well. Guys are going to the basket very well. That's the problem. That's the most frustrating thing out of all of this.
Is that
the
if you
offense
ask
was
Missoula,
fine. The offense was fine, and all of these guys can't make shots. All of them. That's the problem.
Because if Missoula watches film of this game, he's not going to feel like he's got. What is he going to? How much of this is he going to have to change? As John said, defensively you're fine. You had open shots. You managed a 20-point lead.
How much more can Missoula do? Obviously, the timeouts are a problem.
Other than focus them mentally and get them less tight, I don't know what he can do.
But I don't know if he can do that.
Well, that's the coaching. Is that it's not, so what we've decided is it's not an X's and O's thing. So that's covered. So now it's the mental aspect of the game. You've in 2 games now you folded mentally. And last night, there's no debating it. It happened. Again, to go on a 21-2 run in the NBA in a playoff game is almost unfathomable at the end of a game. When you're down, the Oklahoma City didn't when the team quit. Like you're playing Denver and they just quit, then fine. They pack up their things and want to go home. That's fine. But in a game that you're up 20, for a team to go on a 21-2 run is very hard. And it requires a almost Herculean tensing and choking.
It's one of the maybe the most bothersome thing about this, Fred, is if you are Missoula, and other than the timeout or the final play, what do you do differently? Hey, guys, make some of those baskets, especially down the stretch when they're going on a 21-2 run and erasing a 16-point fourth quarter lead. Just make one. Make one during that time frame. Oh, you mean a three-pointer or a layup? Or if you're Porzingis, feel free to put that one back instead of kicking it out. That's a coaching change maybe you could make. If you get a 7-3 center underneath the basket and he comes down with a rebound, with an offensive rebound, just put it back. Don't bother kicking it out.
They've been trained too hard for the last 3 years the other way, unfortunately. That's Missoula ball. You have a wide open layup, but you pass it out to a guy who's got an open three.
And the Knicks couldn't rebound worth a damn. They couldn't do anything, and they still won that game. I wonder if Brian Robb in some way is satisfied because Missoula made sport of him after the game one. And then Brian Robb was peppering questions at him after game two, and he wasn't so slick this time. I wonder if you're Brian Robb, if you feel a certain satisfaction.
A little vindication maybe for asking those questions after game one.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Like maybe you're not so smart.
Missoula was a little nicer last night. It was real hard to be a prick after that game.
Yeah.
Rob Bott has feelings. He does. I'm sure Rob Bott
Well, we're
has
not
feelings.
sure of that, but I mean, their logic could state. I mean, even if he's a Vulcan, let alone a robot. Who's to say? I'm not going to sit here and get sued if Brian Robb is a robot or a Vulcan. I'm not stepping in those.
You're not
legal
inviting
territories.
litigation on that matter.
Absolutely not.
Jim B said, I laughed when Max said that he wished the final play, Tatum's drive to nowhere, had involved some other players in movement or cuts. They never do that. It's always one pick for the ball handler, usually Tatum, and everyone else stands around the perimeter. Why? Because they need spacing. To me, they don't have an offense, no backdoor cuts, no picks away from the ball to free up a shooter, nothing but ISO with the occasional pick, but only for the ball handler. Jim B. in Arlington.
I got 3 or 4 of these kinds of emails, and I disagree with them. I got this email at 7:16 a.m., right after we had our guy in management, Cadillac Jack, live from the Vatican. He said, hands down the worst 20 minutes in sports radio history. That's cool, though. It's not like we have a rebuilding hockey team, football team, and a top basketball team about to be
You wanted to talk about hockey?
The NBA playoffs.
What's going on in the NFL? I understand the Celtic point. But again, we got a guy that went to the Vatican and he was all revved up with a microphone. What, are you not going to take him and break his heart? All right, go ahead.
That's one of them, and we have others that
That's
are much
like when
more
you get in
angry.
trouble because you made fun of someone.
Nobody cares about the Pope, says Josh.
Well, that's not true. Maybe find God. A God of your choosing.
Let go. Let God.
Let God and let go. Let go and let God.
That's it. That's it. Easter egg.
No. Yeah, I can understand being frustrated that we had a guy from the Vatican, but he was at the Vatican and he had a microphone. What do you want us to do? It had been planned for a long time.
Well, as long as we're doing complaint emails, number one, Fred shouldn't have been so rude. It's actually Francis Ouimet's birthday today.
Oh, how old would he have been?
132. And shame on you for not knowing. Also, this...
How much money have you given to the Ouimet Scholarship Fund?
Don't worry about it. I support it in other ways. Bill said, my son Liam is a Ouimet scholar, graduating from Syracuse with a sports management degree this
Another
Sunday.
one.
Well, sports management, that's different than sports broadcasting.
He caddied at Saconesset and Falmouth for years. Great program. That's from Bill. So take that, Fred.
I don't know what you want me to do other than the money that I give them. They take money from my dues to give to the scholarship fund. That's happening.
Maybe not be so glib when discussing it.
Give it more gravitas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Since Hardy will have any blind fool on as a guest on his golf show, I think Fred would be a great guest. You can interview him while you play in your Who's Your Caddy. Would you like to do a segment for the Sports Hub Golf Club when we're playing together during the Who's Your Caddy class?
Other than my big racing of the golf cart that we're definitely going to remember to do.
Oh, we're going to remember to do it, and for that reason, I don't think we should broadcast live from the tournament for the first 2 hours of the show we did last year. That was dumb. So we'll skip that this year, and that way you'll be all...
The show was brand new last year, so that made more sense.
And it was after a Celtics game, which probably won't be the case now. So why don't you just plan on racing that morning before? Do you want to do it before the tournament or after we play?
I don't care.
I would think afterwards you're not going to want to. It should be before.
But are you going to be tight? You going to stretch?
I'm racing it for how many yards?
40 yards.
I think I'll be okay.
Okay.
I think even I can go 40 yards after playing golf in a cart.
So you want to do it afterward?
I don't care.
Well, you just said you could do it afterward, and you would.
You said, "Could you?" I said, "I don't care," and then you said you do it afterwards, and I said,
"No."
Sure.
I said you do it before when you're tight and it's cold in the morning.
I thought you meant would you do it after when you're tight? I'm tight all the time. Just ask my friends. Lee, go ahead.
Hey, speaking of tight, when the pressure gets on, whether on Thursday a 5-foot putt has very little pressure, but on 18th on a Sunday it's a lot of pressure. Same thing with all the sports. So an uncontested shot or contested shot is a lot harder at the end of the game or playoff basketball. If I want to reduce the turnovers, I take the ball and put it in my 3 ball handlers' hands. Holiday, Richard, and White. And I have my 2 primary scorers, Tatum and Brown, and I run them off screens and picks, get them open, get them at the mismatches, get them going to the hoop, get them feeling good, especially at the end of the game, and getting to the line. That's basketball.
All right. So's the ball going through the hoop. So's the ball going through the hoop.
Jesus.
Even when it went through the peach basket, that was still what was needed to be done to win.
Movement.
You got to keep
Motion
it out
offense.
of the. Look, man, they won 159 games this year.
Not as old as he sounded.
No. That's a cigarette.
He
That's
sounded,
a cigarette age.
He sounded Francis Ouimet old.
That guy coughs dust flies out of his mouth.
No.
Oh, I don't know why you're making fun of our listeners. I don't
Just that one,
appreciate
not
that.
all of them. Just
Look,
that
you
one.
won 61 games. Let's be honest. It's not an offensive situation. It's not a scheming situation. It's a situation of you can't make shots. That's all. An NBA player is put in a position with an open shot there to make that shot. It's like the crazy Brunson under the hoop plays that he razzle-dazzles that are the cool ones. Making an open shot is just the difference between college basketball and the pros.
And also, after we've watched Jalen Brunson now for 2 straight games, I really don't. I'm not in the mood to hear about how it's more difficult to hit clutch shots down the stretch in a playoff game in the fourth quarter because there's a guy on the other team who has no problem.
Well,
with it.
that's the thing is that this stage for Tatum is. The criticism is fair. If you want to be like the face of the NBA, if you want to be like one of these like all-time conversation guys, I mean, it's not a debate. You have to perform in these circumstances. Now, Cedric made the point in 1981, Larry Bird did not have a great offensive series against Houston.
Kevin McHale also.
But the thing is that how old was Larry Bird during that series? I mean, listen, he played a lot of college. He transferred in college and everything. But, I mean, that's Bird's, second year?
Yeah, mid-20s. I think 80 was his first year, and 81 was year 2.
All right, so, I mean, right. Tatum's a veteran. Tatum's supposed to be a top 5 guy. This is not debatable. This isn't hating on Tatum at all. I mean, Jason Tatum would tell you this. I mean, the guy wants to be the best player. He wants to be the best player in the NBA. Not going to be the best player in the NBA with LeBron and Steph leaving the league by playing like this in losing series. If they lose this series, I guess kind of regardless of what he does from here on out, I mean, it's bad for him. And it's especially bad that it's against the stupid Knicks, who every national guy, as I've said numerous times, is a huge Knicks fan. You should have heard the national radio call the effing Pistons series. You would have thought that the guy had a I Love New York shirt on and he was, smoking Lucy's. You couldn't have been more in favor of that team. He had a Mobb Deep hat on. It was very frustrating to listen to. So that's going to be, and for 48 hours, that's what you're going to hear. I just got news for you. You're going to hear all about how wonderful the Knicks are, and you're going to hear every guy that's got a microphone in front of them all hot and bothered because finally their team's going to do it. And that would make it even more satisfying. That even for me, it would be satisfying if the Celtics won a Game 6 to take the series. If they somehow won 4 in a row and they won that last one in Madison Square Garden in front of that crowd, or if it went
incredibly
6.
satisfying if it happened that way.
Incredibly satisfying. So we can hope for that. All right, we'll be back in just a moment to hear the headlines.
Essential Sports Hub headline.
I have had many offers to become an insider.
We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
All right, we're Toucher and Hardy, and last night, if you want to know how annoying this next 48 hours is going to be, here is footage of the Boston Garden. It's a long time after the game's over. In let's say 75 Knicks fans have all congregated behind one of the baskets.
Yeah.
So they're all standing there and they're whooping and hollering. And there's one female usher who's like, is anyone going to get these guys out of here? I want to go home. Now, here's the deal. I'll play some of it. It's just, I've described the scene to you exactly as it's unfolding. There's 75 Knicks fans, let's say, hooting and hollering. And this poor woman usher is trying to get him out, and she's pleading with security to get him out.
Security! Help! Help!
Now she backs up and falls over these chairs because she's just, and no one's coming. No one's there to help. There's 75 guys in an empty arena. I mean, that's where the action is, fellas. Remove them. And this woman is like, can you please help me get these guys out of here? I'd like to go home. Maybe that's why they pulled the fire alarm. Now, security is moving slow. I've seen one so far security guard in this footage. It's been playing for 20 seconds. She's been pleading. 20 seconds is a long time. This is where the people are. Remove them. There's two types of security guards, I imagine. Now, the ones you want to hire 99% of the time are chill dudes that are just there. Make sure no one gets shot. Because I've been at 1,000 concerts. I've had to broadcast from all these things. I've seen everything under the sun. And a hard-on security guard causes a lot of trouble. They can get a little too rough. Then it causes a big riot. I've seen these things. Now, in this case, you want a guy busting some heads. Time to get him out. And now I understand being the security guards and being like, oh, Jesus Christ, I gotta move 75 guys out of the arena. My inclination would be to be very passive about it too and try to just get him to. But also, Knicks fans, calm down. Go to what is the advantage of doing Seven Nation Army in an empty arena? How is this at all galvanizing for you? Get the hell out of the arena. And now it makes me wish they were all arrested. Now I kind of wish that they were arrested. If you're not going to leave, arrest them all. Why is it security at this point? Get the cops in. Because as soon as they see a weakness and that no one's going to come remove them, now they're getting all hyper. You get a couple cops in there with the weapons drawn, those smiles go away quick. All of a sudden, they can't. You put one guy in cuffs, all of a sudden the other guys get right in line. You get those billy clubs out, start taking care of business. I swear to God, and I just told you my theory on security. Security, 99.9% of the time should be chill. You want Bird there.
Yes.
You know, a guy runs on the field at Fenway, you take a nice shot at him. You know, you get a nice tackle on him. If you want to, that's fine. Anywho, but for the most part, pacifist, let's work this out. Like, let's not go crazy. I wanted these guys arrested. I really did. It just, because they're all nerds. Nerds chanting Seven Nation Army and Nixon 4. Like, get out of here. You're trespassing. At this point, get out of here. Get some crowd control, some old school crowd control. If they were doing something cool, and you were like, Jesus Christ, these Knicks fans are crazy as hell. Like, they're running around spray painting the signs. Like, this is crazy. Like, if they were doing that, I'd be like, woo, respect. You guys are nuts. Like, you guys are really going to jail. You're committing felonies here. But if you're just standing around like a bunch of tools singing Seven Nation Army and Nixon 4, I want to see you arrested. You're not doing anything. You're loitering at this point.
Show some style, damn it.
Yeah, you're loitering at this point. You're like just dorks jumping up and down. Go try to meet girls. Jumping up and down in an empty arena. And I respect to that usher. She was trying to get him out of there. No one's listening to her. I'm on her side. In fact, if you present yourself to me, Lady Usher, I will. I'll see if the station can't get you some kind of prize. And I've never done this before. She's an older woman. It's not. I'm not. No self-interest here. But but you deserve a little something after that. Tripping over chairs and everything while you're just trying to get these idiots out of the arena. I'm on your side.
She might get the ultimate something. Her security detail may be done for the season.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Just the kind of negative attitude we don't need.
I actually don't think that's going to happen. You'll change your tune. I think that the Celtics win Game 3, everyone's tune changes. But for 48 hours, it's going to be a rough 48 hours if you're a Celtics fan. Luckily, I'm not. So, but Johnny, you were very depressed this morning, and so there you go. But these are the cards you've been dealt. But you're fairly positive about this whole thing.
I think there will be a Game 5 Wednesday. Sure.
I think that's a. Let's write that down.
Call
let's put
me
that
Captain
in ink.
Positive. I think we will have basketball at TD Garden again.
Let's put that down in ink. At least a gentleman's sweep for the Knicks. No, I think I like the Celtics. It's about even money right now. And
You like Celtics in the series?
I like the Celtics in the series. I really do. I swear to God. What do I care? I'd tell you if I did.
All it takes is one, and turn that frown upside down.
Yeah, this whole Patriot
Don't let him win one.
I'll give you another thing, just to let you know I'm on the level.
That's right.
This notion of the Patriots making the Super Bowl or making the playoffs is nonsense. So there you go. There's a negative one,
That's right,
and I'll
Knicks.
give you a positive one. I like the Celtics in this series.
That's right, Knicks. Don't let the Celtics win Saturday. Put them away while you can.
I'm dead serious. Don't let them win on Saturday. Everything changes. All right.